Hello, listener, and welcome to Tim Portalers, the show where we jump around a whole bunch of different role-playing games and systems and hope to do so in a somewhat coherent storytelling fashion. I am Seth, I am writer and game master, and with me I have...
I am David, and today I am feeling well.
I am Rachel, and yeah, things are pretty good today.
For a Tuesday, especially.
For a Tuesday.
Yeah.
Tuesday was good.
Taco Tuesday, and I'm Kyle. And I did not have tacos today, so it's slightly disappointing, but I am well besides that.
Freedom Friday, but still on a
Tuesday.
So, as we continue on in our weird little adventure, when last we left our heroes, there was a rather hasty exit from the land of Yatamu Lodge, and it's a little pocket universe that sort of exists in all places at once, but not really. And the heroes, Hideyoshi, Sahin, and Memphis, threw themselves out into the world from which the enigmatic Reggie Harkins had originated, seemingly from the world of Space 1889. Which utilizes the Ubiquity system, listener. And we have been using that almost effectively. And we have hopefully fine-tuned our process, and we'll be a little better going forward. But the great thing is everybody has fun. That's what's important. So, now that you've had some time here in the world of Space 1889, you have crash-landed a ship, you have made a friendly... German man,
my companion,
your friend, and you have encountered some, motivational acquaintances who are, trying to help you really utilize your full potential in life.
Thank you, Mr. Warren.
Yes,
the motivational speakers.
Yes, for a listener who is first time, Hideyoshi has unfortunately found himself in the body of a lizard man on the planet Venus, where it seems that he has, like others of his kin, been enslaved on a plantation. And this is also the plantation that was the destination seemingly for a joint human and Martian summit that is to be held on the plantation of the Duke of Collingswood, I always get that messed up. And the ship bearing many of the visitors unfortunately crash-landed on the planet, with Sahin narrowly escaping out of one of the escape pods, and crash-landing onto the planet with a new friend of hers by the name of Felika, who is a fellow princess. Seems a little more experienced in princessly ways than our dear Sahin. And you, while trying to climb your way out of the marshlands of Venus, were set upon by some of the local wildlife, which seems to be giant lizards and crocodiles and that sort of friendly thing. And they attempted to make a meal out of some of you, and did manage to slink away some of them with one of the overseers of the plantation. And,
oh no!
Yes, one of the Martians who had crash-landed with you in the escape pod. However, most of you have survived and made your way to the plantation, and have managed to meet up with each other in your guises in this world, since you were not really entirely sure what to expect when you emerged on this side, or if you're going to be able to find each other, but you have managed to do so, as you have seemingly manifested and converged in threads of fate towards the plantation of the Duke of Collingswood. And survivors from the crash have trickled in. Some have been gone out and retrieved by the overseers of the plantation, and some of the lizardmen have aided in the process rather forcibly. And you, on the way back to the plantation, from having been retrieved Sahin, all of you have recently made the acquaintance of one Colonel Byron Bryant, who is the rather exuberant commanding officer of the 382nd Regiment, a regiment that no longer really exists except for its commanding officer and executive officer. Is it still called that in ground forces? Or is it? Okay.
Exuberant is a nice way to put it.
He's nice.
The XO is Lieutenant Eldon Ogden, who is the only other survivor of the regiment, and he only survived and escaped any sort of serious head injury like the colonel has suffered he was off protecting Professor Estelle Erdale, who you have recently made the discovery appears to have instruments that are able to pick up on strange energy signatures. And
You suspect magic.
yes, you do suspect magic. As Memphis, you had been going over the data readings of this, and yeah, this is a weird sort of energy signature that you would not expect to find here in this world that's steampunky and spacefaring.
Right.
It's a little odd. I'm not entirely sure what to make of it. But the professor, she is still intent on making her way back out into the swamplands and discovering what is the source of these energy signatures, and she is convinced that this could be momentous scientific discovery on par with the discovery of ether itself, which is the strange sort of in-between planetary substance that allows travel through space, as you have outfitted ships with ether propellers that are able to guide a ship through this nothingness. So, as we pick up, Hideyoshi, you are among the lizard people in the slave houses, essentially, up to the slums of the plantations, anyway. And Memphis and Sahib, you are in the grand estate of the Duke of Collingswood, and you are up on, I believe you were still up on the third floor as we left off?
Yes.
Yeah, Felika and I had gone wandering, I believe.
Yes. And yes, you have just made this discovery about there apparently being magic on Venus. And you're not entirely sure what that means. So, yes.
I don't know that, I understood the sciencey bits enough to understand that was what was happening. I think I heard science babble, and then it was like, hey,
I'm out.
Yeah. And then Felika and I went to
Okay,
explore.
so Memphis, you are aware that there's apparently
you were the
magic
only
at
one
play.
who's aware.
Something magic.
Yes.
Yes.
Which, as you are departing the room where Professor Erdale is still looking over her instruments and just muttering to herself over them and trying to figure out what's happening here on Venus, you exit with your friend Ernst Seidel, who is looking to you. Oh, that was... the contraption? Yes?
Yes, it was quite the contraption.
What? And she is not fully clothed? What?
Yes, I'm sorry for that. Our British women are slightly of a different stock than the German.
Oh, yes. Okay. Well,
I'm sorry if that was a little offensive to you.
you can see he's still somewhat blushing, even at the memory of it. I think maybe I head back downstairs. Yeah, okay.
Oh yes, I'm looking forward to talking to the dear Duke about maybe perhaps taking the colonel off his hands.
I think he would find that agreeable, yeah. Which you can still hear from downstairs as the colonel is continuing to badger the Duke, and it's like, no, you must help me. I need to return to Venustat and outfit our regiment to head out once more into the swamplands.
Right. So I'll
The
make my way
regiment
down.
that doesn't exist anymore?
Yes.
So I'll make my way downstairs with Ernst, who last I remember he was going to go check in on his wife or something like that, or
Yes, he is. He'll head with you downstairs, but you sort of branch off from each other at the base of the stairwell, and he goes off to Margaret, and he's looking for his wife. Yes.
What time of day is it?
At this point, it's getting to be late afternoon. And getting on towards evening.
so I'll go make my way. I'm guessing it's pretty easy to find a Duke because
Yes.
he has a distinct foghorn around him.
If this was Assassin's Creed, it's like you immediately go into Eagle Vision. It's just like, oh, there he is,
Right.
like a mile away.
Blend with the crowd, kind of slink my way away.
Yep.
Walk with the monks.
And where are the monks?
So I'll make my way over to the Duke. Sir Bailey, if I can perhaps borrow you for
As you're
a second.
approaching, the Duke at this point has just resigned himself to this as his light down. He's just slumped down to a chair, like a cushion chair in the corner, as the colonel is standing there, one hand on hip, one foot kind of up on a stool, and trying to look very grand as he's got his. What?
He's manspreading.
Hello there. Well, since the colonel is there, I'll snap to attention and give him, a salute. Since he is my superior
He
officer.
has not yet noticed you. He's still laying into the Duke.
Pardon me, dear Colonel.
What?
Can I perhaps borrow the Duke for a time?
What? What for?
Well, to help you on your cause to outfit the great regiment, the 382nd.
Yes, sir. The fighting 382nd. What? Yeah.
Yes.
Go ahead. Yeah, make a diplomacy check.
I am skilled in that. We'll give it a try.
I don't
Do you
even
have-
have diplomacy.
Do you have any sort of officer-related skills that might supply you some skills synergy here?
Empathy.
Which, for our listener and players, skill synergy is essentially if you have enough ranks in one skill and enough ranks in another skill, they can compound onto each other if they are both applicable to a certain situation and provide a bonus to your role.
Yeah, I think what I have probably that would come into place is diplomacy. Unless you give me anything for me being a captain in the armed forces of Her Majesty.
I would actually give you a +1 just because you're a fellow officer.
So that would
Or at least
plus
have the
one
appearance of a
in
fellow
my
officer.
level, or so that would
No,
come up.
just a +1 on your diplomacy just because you
Okay.
have
So
the
then,
similar garb of an officer.
gotcha. So that'll be 6 dice total then. Math. All right. Three.
He looks between you and the Duke quickly, back and forth, and then actually seems to sway slightly on his feet as that doesn't appear to be good for his head injury. And he puts his hand up to his temple and says, yes, I think I should probably sit down perhaps for a, for a moment.
Yes, you need to go rest up, sir, if we're going to make the trip.
Oh, yes, sir. You're going to accompany us, what?
Yes, I look forward to accompanying you and the dear professor as well.
Oh, right. Splendid. And the entire 382nd.
Yes, and the rest of the men.
Yes.
And then I'll go, I don't know if he's making his way off, but I'll turn to, did the colonel leave, or is he still in the vicinity?
The colonel slowly is making his way off. He seems to be looking for another chair somewhere that isn't occupied.
Okay. So I'll wait until he's slightly out of earshot, and then I'll turn to the dear Duke of Collingswood and say, my dear Sir Bailey, I'm sorry for the colonel's pestering of you at this time of great need for the gathering of yours.
Yes, I hope to find your company slightly less objectionable, sir.
I hope so as well, and I do apologize for his intrusion on your matters. I was actually looking to maybe take him off your hands, since he is causing quite the disturbance at your
No
gathering.
argument from me.
And I, though sadly, my transportation en route to your humble abode was, well, needless to say, I had a crash and I no longer have a ride. Hence, I had to go partake in the dear, what's his rank? Erlock Seidel's carriage. So
You were aboard the ship that...
no, I was not. So I was wondering, perchance, if I can perhaps borrow. I'll make sure that the lieutenant reimburses you from Her Majesty, but to go perhaps requisite some steeds of some sort to take us to town. If that is all right with you, by the way.
Any transportation we have here on the plantation has been established and is meant to be used for the comings and goings of any guests who are going to be taking part in the proceedings. Not that there appear to be proceedings on the table at this point, given the absence of the captain.
Yes, of course. Although, if you do insist that, I'm more than willing to stay here with the colonel, and we can just perhaps figure out another way to get off your hair.
How many would you require, sir?
Well, and since I've seen the whole professor's contraption,
Yeah.
I would guess maybe like a wagon of some
Oh
sort.
yeah, ideally, like, hauling this on the back of like a pachyosaur
Right.
is going to be very awkward.
Right. So I'd imagine, I don't know how, like a wagon of some sort, and then I don't know what. My character would know how much I would need, but I personally don't know. But I'll give a little bit, try to go minimalistic, but just a little extra room, and just in case I'm able to grab the 2 buddies. But I don't know what exactly that would be. But I relay that information.
Buddy!
That would, this would certainly suffice, if it's not too much for you.
I expect this to be a situation of rental.
Understood.
My property will be returned to me in pristine condition.
Of course, sir.
I expect to be well compensated for my cooperation.
I shall see that it is done, and I shall inform the lieutenant to make sure it is done as well.
Very good, sir. Speak with Mr. Warren. He will find some suitable transportation for you.
Thank you for your time, and I'll snap to attention, give him a short bow,
Yeah.
and then kind of make my way away, and then on the way past, I'll make my way past the colonel as I'm making my way towards wherever Mr. Warren's at, and say, my dear colonel.
Oh yes, I'm watching these potato wedges. I said, no.
Yes, they are rather unique, but rather good, I must say. I forget what the locals call them.
We are not on Earth.
No, we're not, sir. We're on Venus.
You can tell he's just having a moment of wait. He's like trying to get his bearings.
You all right, sir?
He just puts his hors d'oeuvre back on the platter and is looking around. Who are all of these people?
They are here for the gathering to go discuss peace talks among the Canal Martians and the people of Mars.
We are on Mars?
No, we're on Venus, sir.
Say what you mean, man. What?
We're on Venus. This is a gathering to discuss matters on Mars.
Not Earth.
Not Earth. No, we're on Venus. Do you need
But
to lie down, sir?
I've just spoken with Her Majesty and...
Are you quite all right?
what is your rank, sir?
I'm a captain, sir.
Captain? I should be returned to my regiment.
Yes, of course. We shall return you promptly. I was actually coming to speak to you on that. I have acquired transportation to transport you back to your regiment.
Yes, of course, and they are... They're all of them, the lads, nearby.
Yes, sir. Actually, if you want, I can go grab your dear Lieutenant Ogden to go help you out with those matters while I go gather.
Yes, sir. Good lad. That one. Yes.
Yes, he is quite good. But if you want, I can go gather him for you. And
Brother Lieutenant, that one. Yes.
Yes, sir. If you want, I can go gather him for you, and then that way he can keep you company while I go arrange the transportation.
Yes, sir.
Shall I leave you here, or shall we find the dear lieutenant together?
I will step outside, I think.
All right. I shall inform him that you are outside. Do you need any assistance, sir?
No. He just walks out.
I shall see that it's done, and then just go then find the lieutenant first, and then find Mr. Warren.
The lieutenant is actually nearby, also on the ground floor, and as you approach him, he's looking around. Sir, where has the colonel been off to?
He's actually just stepped outside, although now he believes that he is on Earth, apparently, and just spoke to Her Majesty.
Oh dear, I'd best see to him.
Yes, and I would inform you as well that I have acquired transportation from his dear Duke to go take us back to the city.
Thank you, Captain.
So-
that is awfully good of you, sir. And
Thank you. Although I will, of course, this is probably well spoken anyways, but the Duke would like his property back in good condition and to be reimbursed as well, and I'm sure you can see to that.
or at least that he will be, reimbursed for the loss of the property.
Yes, but let us hope it doesn't come to that. I'm going to
Given
go...
what we've already encountered thus far today. Regardless, I should see to the colonel.
Yes, of course, I'll find you momentarily. And now I'll go make my way towards Mr. Warren. Right,
You'd find, yeah, you would find him out back. He's just sitting on the back steps of the estate, just looking out over the fields of the plantation.
Excuse me, Mr. Warren, was it?
Yes, sir. He just puts out the cigarette he's been smoking.
Yes, I've acquired from the Duke some means of transportation. I'll relay whatever he said I could have.
No.
But in order to transport his dear colonel and the lieutenant and some other matters away from this establishment, so that the proceedings may continue.
Oh, yeah, that'll do just fine. He stands up, brushes off his pants of whatever, dust or whatever throughout the day has clung to them, and truth be told, we have more than enough sets of wheels around here. And honestly, I think the Duke is a mite too possessive of his property sometimes.
I see. Well, I hope that we won't bother him then with taking away some of his vehicles for a time.
He will, of course, be bothered if it does not return. He has us number and inventory everything he owns, unfortunately, but...
Of course, I see. 'Tis the way of a landowner, I guess.
I suppose so.
But where shall I meet you when will these be available?
Oh, it won't be long, sir. It shouldn't take me but 10 minutes. I'll be right back here with a suitable wagon for you.
I see. I shall go inform the professor, and we shall see about transporting her contraption downstairs.
Oh, I can have a couple of the lizard boys help you haul that if you require.
Oh, certainly. I'll go inform the dear professor to expect their arrival.
Oh, of course.
And I'll go ahead, snap short bow, and then with a due to dear Mr. Warren, then make my way back up to the professor.
She's still just in a frenzy looking over her instruments.
I'll politely knock, though, on the door before entering.
What?
My dear professor, I've arranged transportation to go take you and the colonel and...
Yes, fine.
Okay.
Let me know when, Doesn't even finish.
Well, you should expect some lizardmen up here shortly to go help you transport your machine downstairs.
This fine, thank you.
You're welcome. And I'll snap to attention, short bow, then turn around and walk down. Yeah.
Right.
Now I don't know what to do because it's like, I don't know how to grab the two, so I'm currently making up a plan for that.
What have you been up to, Sahim?
Valika and I have been wandering away from the hubbub that has been the game floor. So, I think would look to Valika and be like, well, where do you want to go first?
Oh, well,
Look down the
Honestly,
hall and...
probably would be fascinated by whatever I find. I have never been in the auspicious home of a human landowner.
Neither have I. And then I wander off towards the first thing that looks interesting.
Okay.
Off down the hall.
Okay.
Maybe try a few doors, Full on snooping because I'm used to the lodge. It's open, like most areas are open for just about everyone.
Okay.
Oh boy.
Go ahead and roll larceny.
Whoa, I think I actually have that. I have that!
Alright.
Well, I also... Okay, so would stealth sneaking play into that at all?
I'll say sure, because you're also trying to be quiet about it, presumably.
Yeah, I mean, not super quiet about it, but trying to keep it on the DL.
Trying to act like you belong as a couple of Martian princesses in a home that's most certainly not yours.
Exactly.
Sure.
You understand what I'm trying to go for here. So, what would that be?
So yes, how many ranks do you have in either of those skills?
I have... So the base is the attribute, and then the levels is how many ranks I have in it, or are you looking for the rating? That's the...
Rating, yes, sorry.
Okay, so my rating in larceny is 7. My rating in stealth, just stealth, is 9, but I get a +1 for sneaking.
Oh, wait, hold on. For
Okay.
specifically skill synergy...
Is it levels?
Oh yes, you each applicable skill with a rating of 4 or higher. So that
That's nice.
yes. All right.
Okay. My other skills I don't think will tie into this because my others are acrobatics, firearms, and melee.
No, you're not doing any of those things.
Nope.
We hope you're not going to do
Okay,
it.
so-
Unless you're like a ninja like leaping around the hallway, which is really pointless. So I'm
Yeah,
missing that.
there's no reason. What is the base skill I'm using and what dice am I adding? I don't know that I understand that part yet.
You pick the base skill, which would be larceny.
Okay.
You're basically attempting to supplement it with kind of a stealth, skullduggery, sneaking
Mhm.
kind of a thing.
Uh-huh.
So you go off of your larceny rating,
Uh-huh.
which is,
7.
and then what is your stealth rating?
Okay, stealth with, and is it specifically sneaking or is it just generic stealth?
Okay, not just stealth.
Okay, then that's a 9.
Then
Rating of 9.
Since I guess technically you're using both skills, then yeah, you're using the higher skill, which would be stealth, which is 9, and then yeah, adding your larceny to that, which you get a +2, so you're rolling 11 dice.
How do you get I'm adding 2?
Because that's
assisting
what,
it.
Yes, that is what skill synergy does.
It adds 2.
Yes, if you have another skill that is applicable to the task that is at least a rating of 4, then you can add 2 to the overall roll.
Okay, and if you had another skill that was at least a rating of 4, you would add another +2 to
Yes,
your roll?
if it is also applicable to the task.
If it's also applicable. Okay, so that means I'm rolling 11
Yes.
dice?
Do the rules say if that applies between a specialization and its parent skill?
I would just I don't know that I remember reading that, but I just off my top of my head would say no,
Okay.
because you're supposed to treat each specialization as its own skill, essentially.
If you treat it as its own skill, like, so I have a rating of 7 in Brawl for throws, and a rating of 6 in a straight Brawl.
Yeah.
So would that mean that I automatically get a +2 to my throwing?
No.
Okay, that's what I thought. Figured that.
Question.
What?
If I wanted to take the average on this, would it work for this in adding skills together?
Well, basically, because you're going to be rolling 11 dice, taking the average at this point, ladies and listener, is going to basically cut it in half, and since it is an odd number, you are going to get taking the average of 5 plus. Which,
Okay, 5 plus whatever I roll.
Right.
yes. So you roll the 1 die, that's the difference.
Okay.
Let's see what it is.
So that's the beauty of the
Taking the
ubiquity
averages,
system, is you can take the average and then you're rolling fewer dice?
If you want.
Or- okay.
It's rolling fewer dice, but it means that there's a lower chance of failure.
Okay.
You can't succeed as high, but you can't fail as low.
Yeah.
Mm.
You know you're going to get at least 5 successes.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Because-
go. I'm gonna go
yeah.
with that.
It's like in, say, D&D, where you're a rogue and you have reliable talent. Where it's like,
Right.
I'm always going to roll a minimum of 10.
Okay. All I was D&D,
Right.
D&D Beyond. That's what I got stuck in my head now. Thank
I wish
you.
they sponsored us.
Thank you, Sam Regal.
They're not even playing D&D. Why would they sponsor us?
I know.
That was. It's only 5. I rolled a 1.
Okay.
So
You still got 5 successes.
Yeah.
As you and which actually you would be rolling actually 13 dice because Felipe is aiding you.
So,
Oh,
yeah.
so
So you got
I
6
just
successes
oh.
essentially, because you're taking the average on 13.
Okay.
So yes, the two of you are slinking around the home.
I'm just like, here, no, don't step there.
As you're trying to sneak around in the floorboards. But no,
And she goes to open a door. I'm like, no, that's locked, without even looking. I don't know.
sneaking up. And yeah, the two of you just stealthily sneaking around the upper floors of somebody else's home. And
What interesting things do we find?
different bits and bobbles, more trophies in different rooms. There's a number of guest rooms that you come across with
Mhm.
questionable decor. And
What kind of questionable decor? Are we talking like having deer heads up and things like that?
sure, but local fauna.
Well, yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly what all the local fauna is, being new to Venus and
Yeah.
a new princess.
You got a
So
good close look at some of the fauna.
right, yeah.
that's
Which
true.
in one of the rooms, in one of the guest rooms, you do actually find the hide of like some big marsh monster crocodile thing, and it's just
Hmm.
splayed up against the wall, and it's
Ugh.
supposed to be
I get a
decorative.
little
and
bit
it's
of
weird.
a shiver and leave the room
Yeah.
quickly.
You do note any of the furniture. Somehow you know this because you have somewhat acclimated to your body here, and you recognize. Oh, there's a lot of German handiwork here. Yes, there appears to be.
So, as a Martian princess, I understand about German ingenuity.
German engineering.
Engineering, it is so precise upon this chair. There was just straight lines there in perfect proportion.
Yeah, this is basically the kind of decor and furniture you get when you have the local materials and fauna and whatnot, and you have the nearby sprawling city of Venusstadt, which is a German settlement.
You know what? It just now occurred to me that that was a German name.
It's German for Venus City.
Yeah.
Very cleverly named.
Yeah.
Oh, so very clever.
Says the person from Lincoln City.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's not in German.
So it's clever. Anyway, but I mean, there's not a whole lot really on the.
No deep dark secrets or things to find.
I mean, you find copious amounts of records somewhere on the second floor where he actually has his personal offices. That
Yeah. Finger through a few of them, see what I find.
it's really boring.
Oh, never
He's-
mind then. Blah.
And you're in her random flipping through the pages. Does she find the purchase agreement for one lizard slave called 28?
You are going. Well, would she know to be on the lookout for that?
And also,
I
would
wouldn't
she
know your number.
number?
I just want to know if she
She might,
finds it.
she might have seen it on your wrist, but like, why would?
So, like, for the
is
viewer,
there
or the
something
listener.
that I could roll to be like, would I even think, would inspiration strike?
Would it register that you were looking at the purchase agreement for a sentient being that's now been assigned a number?
Roll bureaucracy.
I don't have that.
Then probably not.
What is bureaucracy?
Bureaucracy is an intelligence-related skill.
That is a 2.
So no.
Nope.
Yeah, there's a lot of just gobbledygook. And
Mhm. I tire of it very quickly and just. I look at Felicia. You understand any of this?
I do not find it incredibly interesting. I think I am far more fascinated with his collection of firearms. And she's looking at like this huge cabinet of.
Oh yeah, I shove papers away. I'm like, yeah, that's more interesting.
Which there are some nice weapons here in this locked gun cabinet. Just so you're aware.
I figured.
Okay.
Yeah, just go.
13.
What are some really good guns from the time period, David?
Ooh, if you've got any Henry repeaters, those are pretty nice. There probably won't be a Gatling gun because that'd be too big to fit in a case.
Yeah.
Colt Army single-action revolvers are nice.
Well, you never know. He could
1889,
have a whole room
don't-
dedicated to a cat
This is an
right?
office, though.
You never know.
Yeah, this is like a gun cabinet on the back wall of an office.
Okay.
I don't think the Maxim exists yet. It's possible that I don't remember for sure, there might be an actual automatic pistol.
I
But-
think I might have seen something automatic in.
Yeah, but those would be like brand new.
Oh, okay.
There might also be some antiques in there, some old percussion firearms, or even flintlocks, matchlocks, wheel locks, arquebuses, blunderbusses.
I actually do know Blunderbuss. That's the one with like the big fan.
Right, those things look cool.
Wait, seriously? I had no idea
Yeah,
that.
the one
Was...
that has, like,
It's
a trumpet
like
thing
the
looking
old
at
school
the-
shotgun, before shotguns were a thing.
Okay.
You just pack it full of like gravel instead of a big bullet. And it goes...
It's a rather loud objection to your opponent.
Yes. It's used for against highwaymen.
You know, I always saw those and always wondered if it was just a stylistic choice.
That's how they were...
That's a real thing?
It's a thing.
Okay, wow.
It's
Yes,
supposed
it
to be
is a
fun
stylistic
and
choice.
Well, I meant like as far as like in animations and stuff like that. I thought it
Oh,
was just a
gotcha. Cartoons
stylistic,
were just
like, yeah.
That's I mean, it might be slightly exaggerated in animation, but
Well,
that's
yeah.
basically
Okay.
your old school sawed-off shotgun.
Huh,
But
okay.
there was a function to the design, which, from what I gathered, there was a lot of wear and tear because whatever you shot out of it would just rattle along
Oh yeah, that'd be terrible.
the barrel.
Oof.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah, just look at the guns. I'm not tempted to steal anything.
Okay.
Just as so you know. And
The guy without a weapon is just...
yeah, but we haven't,
guns!
we haven't talked
I'm
about
a
it.
swordsman,
So.
alright? So...
Yeah, so keep wandering.
Okay. You continue to look through the various rooms, and he's a bit of a hoarder. There are a couple of rooms on the second floor specifically that are just filled with bits, bobs, knickknacks, and there are things here that you recognize. Oh, that's from Mars, that's from Earth, that's from Venus. Those like some weird, like little plants.
Actually, this is reminding me a bit of a Doctor Who I listened to. This guy had built this mansion, and like a room was dedicated to like there was a room that had like actual Arctic coastline in it, and this whole thing. It
Which
was,
one is that?
is one I listened to off of the Spotify thing. I think it was the Deadlands. Something.
Is there a reptile room?
There are dead reptiles right around in different rooms.
Hi.
But no, this one room, you note especially, there's like some weird plant life that looks like it hasn't been watered in ages, but oh, that's from Mercury. It doesn't need to be watered.
Oh,
Touche.
it's okay. I don't have a green thumb. I probably wouldn't fully get that anyways.
And now you have like a slightly orangish thumb right now, I believe.
Rust colored.
Martian.
Yeah, and then probably after we get bored wandering around upstairs, would maybe want to poke around on some of the other levels and maybe see where the lizard folk are kept.
Okay. You can look back and see there's like a bit of a... It feels weird to say it, but it's essentially like a highbrow shantytown, which, it like you can tell that the materials from which these shacks are made are probably good, but there probably wasn't a whole lot of time devoted to building any sort of quality homes. It was, here, build yourself something, alright, that's good enough, get to work.
So just enough to have some sort of shelter over their head, and that's it.
But as you're looking around the different rooms where this guy has just stored probably decades worth of collecting things.
Probably commenting about all the hoarding and stuff to Felica as we go.
Oh, well, I've unfortunately seen worse. My father has... it feels like a whole sub-palace devoted to whatever presents he has been gifted from other dignitaries.
Sub-palace?
He has a problem.
Sub-palace.
Yes.
You're gonna have to explain to me what that means exactly.
There's the proper palace that is the larger, more well-built, fancier, honestly gaudier structure in which we actually live, and the side quarters for concubines and what have you. And the children live off in their own separate wings. We all have private servants to wait upon us, and the sub-palace is merely a smaller structure that is only perhaps 4,000 square feet, and just filled with whatever my father wishes to keep there that doesn't necessarily fit with the palace decor.
Okay. Because as an aside, I'm used... the lodge is not really large or small. It kind of is what it is.
Yeah. So talking about square footage is kind of like, which you're only which you
Maybe
actually
if you stayed in school.
I was in school, just not as much as you were.
But the area of it is really, whether or not you actually understand it as square footage is another thing entirely. But for the sake of ease of us playing,
because what I'm trying to figure out is the lodge is every part of it is a necessary part of it, but it's neither large nor small, but all of it is used somehow, correct?
Yeah.
All space is utilized. So it'd have a space where things that are not utilized just go to that's a foreign concept.
right? The lodge is
room.
Yeah, the lodge is quite literally the perfect realization of a place for everything and everything in its place.
Okay. So yeah, this whole, like, I think in that light, I think that I am significantly fascinated by the fact that there are so many useless things
Mhm. Look
sitting
at this
around.
stuff. Isn't
Yeah,
it worthless?
yes. Don't you think my collection's complete? Yeah, now I got that. Now I got that one stuck in my head. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yes.
No.
The Duke does have gadgets and gizmos aplenty, and
Mm.
uses and what's galore.
But does he have thingamabobs?
He's got 20.
Well, I want more.
Anyway, but yeah, as you're going through it all, Felika is seeming, somewhat distant, and she does continue to look out at the horizon as
I would like, kind of like bump into her, like, I'm used to doing with people I've known for years. And like, what's going on?
yeah, you can just see she's looking out a nearby window to the smoke plume on the horizon in the waning hours of daylight, where you can just see the remains of the wreckage of the HMS Star Unity.
Mm-hmm.
I do hope that Captain Barker is all right. He was meant to be, the rallying voice of reason for the summit here.
Did you know anybody else well on the ship?
On board, no. I had a handful of servants who accompanied me, but we were separated in the chaos. None of the ones we traveled with to the plantation here were known to me directly.
Hmm.
I do hope they're all right as well.
Yeah. Had they sent out and all the parties can't have come back at this point with all the survivors, or?
There were still a handful of people trickling in last you saw, but you haven't been downstairs in a while.
Okay. Well, I want to head downstairs and see if anybody else has
Well,
shown up.
If the captain at least had been returned, I think we would have heard of it, but
Probably.
we can at least see if any other survivors
Yeah.
come back.
I need to check out a hunch with the lizards folk.
All right. Is it all right if I accompany you?
Yeah.
Until I am needed here, I'm not incredibly adept at small conversations.
It's okay. Honestly, you've seen how terrible I am at that.
When you get to be more experienced as a princess, it becomes a little easier.
Well, I do appreciate you sticking with me to help me through this new experience.
You can tell that there's just still the wheels turning in her head, trying to figure you out, but still just like, all right, I just like hanging out with you. We'll see where this goes.
And I think probably a little bit of bonding has happened, so I'd probably start talking about how technically I'm not a Martian, and
Ooh.
Okay.
Bum, bum, bum! Plot twist.
Where is this revealed?
what?
Weren't we supposed to not do that?
Are we not?
Nope.
Stay in school, kids. That way you don't make these mistakes.
I don't know that I would say it that directly. I'd still be keeping a lot to myself, but that I'm pretty sure I might weirdly know one of the lizard folk. Though technically I'm not sure I've ever met them before.
She seems to mull that one over for a minute, and I think I understand. Sometimes you encounter people and you feel as though there's a fast connection.
Just gonna leave it at that.
And I walk away.
Right, you head out and begin to make your way back towards the lizardman,
Mhm.
which at this point, you would be able to, well, first we'll pick up with Hideyoshi, as there's been the crack of a whip overhead to signify that there is a master present, And
Stand up.
Mr. Warren strides confidently into the lizard folk area and is looking about. Now I'm going to need a handful of volunteers to aid in outfitting a wagon for a few of our honored guests. As you raise your hand, he actually looks over to you, and there's just a moment where he is just studying you. Like he did not expect anyone to actually volunteer.
Way to give it away, Hideyoshi.
I'm an exuberant lizardman. I'm helpful. I don't say that out loud.
Huh. Well, be honest, I was intending to keep an eye on you anyway, so, come on then. And he just levels his whip around the area, just randomly says, and you, and you, and you.
Okay.
The other three lizard men all like, and just reluctantly step forward and join you as
I follow Mr. Warren.
he heads over to this is the Victorian Venusian equivalent of the millionaire with his, tiered garage with all of his fancy sports cars and everything. There's this huge barn full of different plows and rudimentary tractor-like devices and wagons and carts, and Mr. Warren just goes up to one of the carts and gives it a heave on the side just to test. He's like, okay, everything's looking in order. Yeah, all right, I'm going to need you lizard boys to look over the wheels here and give a final. All right.
I pick a wheel. And I look at it.
Okay. Are you skilled at all in wheel writing?
I have no wheels.
I would call it carpentry.
The closest thing I got, I think, might be ride. Animal handling?
No.
No.
Survival?
I would allow survival with -2 penalty.
Okay. I'll go with that then.
You fool, you're gonna kill us all.
Oh! 2 success!
Okay.
Wow.
That there looks like a pretty solid wheel. It's like more of a technicality looking this thing over and deciding, like, okay, it's affixed to the axle properly and everything looks to be in order.
Yep. The other lizard men also check other wheels and look at... I give Mr. Warren the signal that this wheel is good to go.
Okay. And he slowly is mounting up on a pachyosaur and trotting around and taking in all sides of it. All right, now, which one of you lucky lizard boys is gonna drive this thing?
I smile. There is my hand.
Again, looks over to you. Well, aren't you an excitable one? Careful that don't get you in trouble.
I just smile with my lips as closed as I can get them.
All right, hop on up, lizard boy.
I climb up. Onto the pachyosaur or onto the cart?
Onto the cart.
Yeah, climb onto the cart.
There, at this point, one of the other lizard men is bringing up a nearby pack animal and affixing them to the yoke of the cart.
Yep.
And are you skilled at all in driving carts?
Nope.
All
But
right.
I do have ride.
Oh, I don't know that.
I'm riding a car.
Don't cross the streams.
The streams across, man. All right.
Because it's not exactly pilot, it's not exactly ride. So I guess I would just...
Animal handling.
I would just call it animal handling. So
Okay.
you're good to go, I think.
Sweet. I actually have a rank in that.
Yeah.
That gives me 2 success.
Okay. Without any difficulties, just tap the pachyosaur lightly on the rump, and it's as it on its heavy reptilian feet and hauls the cart out of the barn and begins trotting up towards the rear of the house.
Is Mr. Warren riding in the cart with me?
No, he's on his own pachyosaur and riding alongside.
Okay. So I follow his direction. The other lizard folk, I assume they climbed onto the cart as well.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
They appear to be involved insofar as they're going to be helping to load things onto the cart.
Sounds good.
And at this point, Sahim, you see a cart heading towards the back of the house as you are heading towards the lizard people shantytown.
And what do I see in the cart?
There's nothing as yet in the cart, but there are a few lizard men in the back of it, just kind of riding behind, and there is one lizard man driving it, and that man looks familiar. And alongside it is Mr. Warren on his own package.
If Mr. Warren is not looking at me, I nod at Saheen.
I would nod back and keep my distance because I don't want to.
But don't look like you're trying to keep your distance.
Yeah, I'm gonna just play it cool.
Yes.
Oh, well, during this whole escapade, I realized that one, I should probably let my dear pal Ernst know of my soon departure, as well as perhaps finding the dear princesses or the ladies that I had met earlier that accompanied me up into the professor's.
Okay, go ahead and roll perception.
I have perceptions. I do not have perceptions, so what is perception on?
It's a secondary attribute.
Oh, it's a secondary? Oh, yes, I do have perceptions.
Yeah.
Oh, now apparently I'm French.
Oh, mais oui! Très bien!
J'ai oublié what accent was I supposed to use.
Man,
I'm all over the place.
I see everything. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So, first off, you see Ernst, who is talking animatedly with his wife, who is just not caring what he has to say, but you see he's actually laying it out. And so, when I entered the room, she was... but I swear, it's nothing untoward.
I feel so sorry for it.
But yeah, he's carrying on, and you definitely saw Saheen and Felika making their way out the back, and you see, looking out, oh, there's a cart coming, there's a lizard man driving in, who I know, there's Mr. Warren on his Pachyosaur, the Colonel and
have
the
God vision right
Yes.
now, where it's like, all right, there.
Yes.
there.
the Colonel and the Lieutenant are actually out in the front. You see the Lieutenant is actually kind of patting the Colonel on the shoulder and talking to him softly, and seems to be trying to help him process everything.
Gotcha. All right. I'll make my way over to Ernst, but since I had such a good perception, I'll kind of try to time myself so that way I come in kind of more of a lower point of the conversation.
A lull?
Yeah, a lull of sorts, so I don't have to disturb their conversation. But,
Lulls.
Yeah, lulls.
For the lulls.
Yep. So I'll
Okay.
enter there and just say, pardon, sorry to disturb.
And that is the whole story. Oh, hello.
Yes, hello, Ernst. I'm sorry to disturb you and Margaret.
Oh, it's okay. I feel so much better having gotten that off my chest.
I'm glad to hear. I'm sorry again for the, the unique experience there.
Oh.
And I apologize for that.
Oh, as long as it is not repeated, I think.
I certainly hope so.
Yeah.
Although I must say that I'll be accompanying the dear Colonel and Lieutenant and Professor back to Venustat. And thus,
yeah.
I sadly will have to make my departure from your two wonderful company.
Oh, perhaps I am well known in Venustat. Perhaps my assistance could be helpful in securing whatever it is required for the Colonel and his efforts.
Well, certainly I don't mean to impose, but if you won't mind, that would be
Oh, no,
extremely...
think nothing of it. Until the summit begins in earnest, I think, that is where I will be most useful at,
I see. And I do hope that's not an inconvenience to you, Margaret, and I, Get probably no response, of course.
She's doing the whole,
Right. I can't be bothered.
I deferentially see you kind of nod to a few other women who are clustered nearby,
Right.
and they're all, lost in their own little
Wonderful.
trains of thought. Some of other groups of the ladies seem to be actually conversing and having a good time. These women are too important for whatever is happening around them.
Gotcha.
Margaret seems to have friends insofar as whatever that means with people like that.
People that she stares or kind of side glances at. But certainly, though, Ernst, I look forward to continuing our friendship.
Yeah. Oh, yes. I think we are. Yeah, we are getting along as you say, swimmingly. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm greatly enjoying our time together. I shall inform you when we are planning to leave, which it should be. Do I have a rough guesstimate about when things might be loaded up,
I
or
mean, you see the cart coming, so as soon as things are loaded up, you can get going.
it looks like the cart's arriving now. They shall be loading up their professor's gear.
Oh,
so,
yeah, and he's actually beginning to like roll up his own sleeves.
well, certainly, if you want to help, I think they got some individuals that will help. But I mean, certainly, if you would like to help as well, we can make our way there.
Yeah.
So I'll go ahead and with Ernst start heading that way. Shoot, I was going to go try to run into the two Martian ladies, but apparently that is going to be, well, no, I'll head on outside to the gathering where the cart's at.
Yeah, so the cart is coming up to the back of the house at this point.
And where's Sahin and Falika?
They just kind of stopped at the back steps and are waiting for the cart to approach.
Yeah, kind of sitting on the back steps, just pretending
Okay, so-
to enjoy the outdoors for
Yeah.
a bit, relief from the commotion inside.
There you go, one cart as requested.
Thank you, Mr. Warren.
No problem at all.
You're quite the gentleman.
Oh, well, I have been told that, yes.
I glare daggers at you.
I'll go ahead. I'm guessing they're starting to get kind of.
I
start
see you
making their way
glare
up
at him, I
towards-
glare at him.
I'm guessing they're starting to make their way up though to go unload the.
Yeah, the lizard men have hopped off the back and are trying to
I'll just
That's
really
right, I
turn to
have-
Ernst and say, "Pardon me a moment."
Yeah. Which you do know, very much so, these are the kind of help that do not use the main stairwell. There's
Gotcha.
like a back stairwell for the help.
I kind
And
of
they're
figured.
trotting up the back way very meekly.
Okay, but I'll excuse myself politely from Ernst if you'll give me just a moment, and then I'll go make my way over to the two Martian ladies that are sitting and just admiring the view.
Yeah.
And just say, "Oh, excuse me, my dear ladies, it was Falika and Sahin, correct?
It was, yes.
I don't know if you're here. You were on the vessel, I understand, and I don't know if you were here for the summit itself. But me and
What summits?
well, yes, certainly. But me and some other individuals, the Colonel and a few others, are going to make our way back to Venustat, and I was going to extend a lift if you needed a ride back to town."
I do not know that I have any needs to go to Venustat.
Oh, you were expecting to go to the summit then?
The summit was meant to be here.
And now, would I know that if the ship was originally making its way to Venustat, or...
The ship was actually supposed to head to Fort Collingswood, which is also
Oh, okay.
rather nearby, and people would be dropped off there and then transported
Gotcha.
to the
I
plantation.
just didn't know if it was like a whole, not like it's a space bus, but like land somewhere, then people were going to get, going to Venustat as well as make their way back. So, cool. But anyway, I'll just say politely to both of them, well, if you need a lift to Venustat, that is where I'm heading. And then I hope you
Yeah.
enjoy your view that you were looking at, or whatever you two are up to.
Yes, thank you. Well, Sahin, as long as we're here on Venus, perhaps we can take in some sights besides what we see while screaming inside of a escape pod.
I think yes. Let's put that memory far behind us.
Of course, I don't mean to impose if you want to wait here for the summit.
Honestly, when the summit begins, I can return. I can find somebody to give me a ride back, but I haven't been in a human city before, so I'm eager to see what that might be like.
I look over to Sahin and see what's her kind of whole expression, if she gives me any expression, like anything to go off of, or...
Just a shrug, like sure.
Well, then I shall let you know when we're about to head out. I believe we're going to head out shortly once the professor's materials have been gathered. Thank you for your time. And then I give a nice little bow and turn around and head back over to Ernst to go help load up the thing.
Yeah, he's actually followed the lizard men upstairs and he's taken off his coat and rolled up his sleeves and everything. He's trying to help them haul the box downstairs, but he's not doing the most good in the effort. But he's trying to pitch in.
For
and-
effort type of thing.
yeah.
I shall also, go and offer my
Yeah.
assistance and try my best to help as well.
It honestly looks like the lizard men have got it. What they're able to do, they have pretty strong legs, and not only that, but they have a tail where they can sort of lift themselves down the steps even as they're carrying the
Oh,
thing.
cool. Alright. So then,
Superior race!
I'll go help out as
Do
much
you
as
stay
I
with
can.
the cart? Or
No,
do you-
I'm gonna.
Okay.
I assume I was going to.
Okay, go ahead and... Well, I guess we'll see how about you, because you're rolling athletics plus 8.
Athletics plus 8.
Yeah.
Plus 8.
He's got 4 people helping him.
Wow.
So that's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
Yeah.
And you failed.
There's
Ah!
Yes!
3 ones in all of that.
Mhm.
That was whatever.
Natural 1.
Wow.
Nat 20.
Out of all of that, I only got 5 success.
Well, you only needed 3. So, you guys are hauling this thing down the stairs, no problem. And by the end of it, Ernst is helping to haul it up into the back of the cart as the professor is standing there and looking over. And be careful with that. Oh, thank you. Be careful. And Ernst, as he finishes pushing it and doing what he did to help, he's taking out his handkerchief and wiping his brow. This is such an exciting day.
So I want to give this guy a high five.
Yeah. Eat my hero, MVP.
And he's like clapping all the lizard men on the shoulder. Well done, you're so strong. So young and strong. You can see he gets a little sad at that.
Oh.
Okay, well, are we off to the next adventure?
I believe so. Ernst.
Okay.
I climb back up into the cart, into the driver's seat.
Right.
Mr. Warren is waving out the other lizard men. I guess you all can go, you all. Find other help, I think, once you reach Venustat.
Oh, I didn't know he was talking to me. Sorry. But yes, I'm sure we can acquire some assistance. Thank you, though, for gathering the troops, as it were.
You're quite welcome.
And I'll go ahead and go help Ernst, follow Ernst to go gather, I guess, Margaret. And
I think
his...
she's going with us.
I don't think so,
I don't
man.
know
I
if
think
she's coming
she's
with
gonna
us or
stay
not.
here.
As you mentioned going together, Margaret. Oh, but I think she can find her way home. We brought our own carriage, so
Oh, I see.
our driver can take her home, I think.
Alright. I give him a polite little nod, and then it's like, I'll go
I
ahead
feel
and
so
climb
bad for the
I
man.
know. I love this guy.
I know.
Actually, is the colonel been gathered yet, and the lieutenant, or
At this point, the lieutenant
I
is
just want to make sure that
herding the colonel back around the house and not back to all
Right.
the people to be caught up and catch them all up in conversation. But at this point, the colonel is coming back into the room. Good! I see we have secured transport!
yes, we have, sir. We're ready to leave.
Very good, sir. Very good. Well, it is not,
I just kind of point at the sun.
Well, I'm sorry. What do you? I'll go ahead and use my linguistics to talk in whatever
Venusian.
Venusian. To go ask. So I don't think I ever heard you talk at all. No, you have.
I think I said like Yatamu or something when
Right, yeah.
just to let you know that it was me.
Right. Yeah. So I'll go ahead and just ask what he means in
Venusian.
Venusian.
they
So
speak on this here Venus.
right. Yeah. I'll go ahead and use my average roll since it's plus at the roll. So that is a grand total of 3.
Okay. Venusian is a bit of a tricky language, but 3 was your number, so you were able to make your way through the difficult hissing, sort of grating sounds of the language, and
Right, and ask basically what's the deal with the pointing with the sun.
yeah, and you're actually a little surprised, like, oh, he actually speaks Venusian.
Still in Venusian, I'm going to respond to him. Are you really wanting to set off right now when the sun is setting?
I don't know how far away. Would I know how far away Venusia or whatever it is?
Venustat?
Venustat. Sorry, I was thinking of the language. How far away is the language?
It's close to my heart.
It's all in your mind, man.
Right.
Just
Whoa.
break the barriers of your mind.
My mind pass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if you're
Venustat.
asking,
Well, no, go ahead.
yeah, if you ask Ernst, he's able to say, oh, it's, I think, and he's like holding his fingers up to the horizon, trying to gauge the amount of time you have left in the day.
Right.
Is perhaps to 2 to 3 hours, depending on how quickly we make our way towards Venustat. But there should we should be arriving at the city near to actual sunset, I think.
And would my body, I guess, rather, would I have? Do I have any knowledge about is the road from here to Venustat safe, or is there a worry, or would we be fine?
Well, you traveled part of it. On
Right,
your
yeah, I
way
know,
here.
yeah.
And
So
a lot of it is, it's out in the open and up along the higher ridges and plateaus of Venus, leading up towards where Venustat is, more in the higher lands. And,
gotcha.
Yeah, you wouldn't worry so much about probably, whatever creatures there are in the actual marshlands, but, being up in the highlands does not mean there will be nothing
Right.
creature-wise to worry about, and also up high, there's, a bit of a incremental bout of weather. It's just going to be,
Okay.
just hitting.
So it's kind of like it's not dangerous, but there is
Not as
sometimes-
dangerous.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So, I guess I'll go ahead and reply in Venetian.
Venetian?
Yeah. Just turn back to Hideyoshi and just say, "Oh, we should be fine if we leave now."
Yeah, they will only very briefly head back down to Swampland.
Right. But and I would imagine that'll be here very shortly, so it'll still be light outside. But,
Yeah.
So I'll go ahead and make sure, although I'll think of it in the language, thank him for his thoughts and concern, and then mention that we should be okay.
Just think in your head Venusian, and
Venetian,
then change the us to us.
Venusian.
There you go.
There we go. We'll see how long that remembers.
Okay.
Yeah.
If the good sir thinks that we've got plenty of time to make it, then we're good to go.
I did not say plenty.
I didn't speak in English.
Okay.
And then I'll go ahead and make sure everyone's at least loaded up and be on our way.
Actually, Ernst would know some very basic Venusian, so he would.
Right. So I'll go ahead and hop in the cart and sit next to Ernst. And I'm guessing everyone else hops in the cart then.
It's a weird sort of setup where you have all of the professor's equipment just splayed across the middle of the wagon, and then to either side there are benches, so you're kind of looking
Over.
awkwardly over it at each other. And yeah.
Does anybody sit up front with me?
Now, is Mr. Warren coming with us, or?
Mr. Warren kind of sees you off along
so-
back onto the main road, but sort of waves you off at that point.
Hi.
Safe travels now.
Thank you, sir. So to clarify who's all going, it's me, Ernst, Zaheen, Flika, Hideyoshi, the dear colonel, the lieutenant, and the professor.
Yes.
Okay, gotcha.
Yes.
So-
All of you have piled up, and yes, the back would actually be quite full, so if anybody would want to sit beside Hideyoshi, if no one else would, I guess the lieutenant would, if nobody else would.
I would sit up there, but I also don't, Ernst is kind of my buddy, so it's like, I'll sit next
Yeah,
to
the
him.
lieutenant would graciously defer. I suppose I will sit up front then.
Very good, Lieutenant.
What's that?
I scooch over to make room for him and give him a nod.
He doesn't give you a nod like, I am so superior to you, but just kind of a nod of like, this is unusual for me. He's not used to just going and sitting beside the driver kind of thing.
That's cool. I mean, whatever.
Out of curiosity, I guess the colonel has his big gun.
Yes.
Is the colonel armed? Or I just talked about the colonel. Is the lieutenant armed at
Yes.
all? Or just making sure, since he is theoretically riding shotgun back in the day,
Haha.
does he have?
He does not have a shotgun, but he is
but
armed.
he has a weapon. Just
He
in
has a
case.
rifle.
Okay, cool. All right, I guess we head out on our merry way.
So it's out of, 8 of us? 3 of us are armed?
Actually, both the colonel and the lieutenant would have rifle, sidearm, and saber.
And I just have my sabers.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. You were not outfitted for actual combat. You just have a decorated
Right.
ceremonial sort of
I'm in
fancy
my,
saber.
basically my parade uniform, if
Yes.
you will. Okay. But I guess on the trip, I'll go ahead and converse with, of course, Ernst, but also talk to more, get to know more about the professor's Erdale's machine, and just ask about, since I'm kind of probably the only one that's understanding her scientific lingo.
Yeah. She's actually put it back on her actual dress, frock coat and whatnot, up on the over her undergarments once
Right.
more, and has sort of cranked open a side panel of the huge crate in which she has all of her gear, and she's still like got one foot up on the side of the box and is like trying to fiddle with her equipment, even as you're shakily going along the road, which is reasonably well kept, but still there's a jostle
Right.
back and forth.
But I'll engage her and just ask him more about these, weird seismic or whatever activities that she's been recording. Like,
Not
let's see.
seismic. No, these are energy signatures.
Energy signatures.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you said you had a few that you encountered previously, although they built up, and there was a big one right before the vessel crashed.
Yes, in that respect, I suppose it was somewhat like seismic activity in detecting the seismic waves before a volcanic eruption or something
I
like
see.
that. But shortly before the Star Unity
Uh-huh.
was brought crash landing down onto this planet's surface, there was a rather brief surge and quick build-up of these energy signatures, and well, once they reached their pinnacle wavelength, that is when the Star Unity was brought down. I think it is foolish to assume that these two events are not interconnected. I'm trying to find out what it is that is binding these two events together.
I see. And then the previous energy signatures that you encountered, they didn't have any, let's say, disastrous consequences such as a ship crashing. Or
Well, they were not as strong,
They were
but
not as
presumably whenever these signatures reach a crest in their waves, I suppose, then it will cause some sort of, I don't know, atmospheric effect, perhaps. It had an impact on the course of the Star Unity.
Right. So an atmospheric effect would be most likely prevalent in this case. I'm basically talking science lingo and just trying to figure out as much as I can about what this all is. So.
I mean, you can tell she's getting a little tired of you basically saying what she's saying back to her.
Well, my character would probably know more about this science stuff than I do, but yeah. Maybe. Don't know.
Oh, so if you science the science, then science.
Right, yeah. Actually, for funsies, could I make, since I do have science and physics, could I roll to see if maybe I might have a different angle on why this might... I mean, obviously I know what the big weird magic thing was because we all arrived. But is there a way that I can maybe piece together my knowledge of the lodge, how it exists, how it previously worked, and maybe correlate that into
Well, Sahin, you would know that the Star Unity was not affected by anything in the atmosphere. Something hit it.
Are they having this conversation anywhere?
You're all in
we're in the cart.
Okay. I would point out that we were not at... It was before we hit atmosphere that we were taken off course.
By what exactly?
No idea.
Erdale actually looks up to you slowly. You are on the vessel.
Yeah.
Okay, what happened? What impacted with the ship?
Well, we were, going about normal business. Suddenly, unknown object flies past, and suddenly the ship shudders, and that's all I know.
So you collided with something.
No, something collided with the ship. I know that much, at least.
Perhaps the energy signature caused something to be attracted to objects in orbit, perhaps. Exerting some sort of great gravitational force on each other.
I get bored very quickly with
Am I understanding what she's trying to say, though, or...
She's just trying to puzzle it out as
so
to what happened.
Gotcha. But I can't draw any other conclusions on them, what I know of previous... Because I'm imagining that the Lodge has recorded things of oh, hey, this is kind of what happens when we go to a different world, kind of what...
Yeah.
Is there any other anomalies or weird things that happen when people went to be back and forth between the portals or realms or whatever they're called?
I mean,
Doorways?
whenever you have, magic and science blending together, it's really anybody's guess about what caused what.
Okay.
Because essentially what magic is in cases like this is finding ways to just ignore the laws of physics, say, for a bit? And just, I just manifest this into existence or cause this to act in a way that is contrary to its nature.
Gotcha. And what do I know about Venus? Like, is there anything, obviously it's not Saturn, so you don't have rings around it, but is there anything like, I know nowadays in the modern world we have space debris around our thing. Is there anything like that that's floating above Venus, or is it just like an oddity that something would have randomly came out of nowhere and hit a ship?
I mean, there's always the infinitesimal possibility of encountering an object in space, but there is so much space and so little area.
So it's odd that it's like, okay. Yeah. So much like the professor is saying, it's an oddity that these things collide at the same time this happened. So they probably are linked.
Yes. Correlation does not necessarily equal causality, but when things kind of stack up like this, it's like, there's probably a cause here.
Okay. And just to remind me, the professor was wanting to go back to Venus to go get supplies so she can go back into the field because there's still readings or something going on? Or?
Basically, what she's thinking of in terms of resupply is basically we need more troops for protection so we can actually head back out into the dangerous marshlands and continue this mission.
Okay, got it. Just want to refresh my memory.
Yes.
So
since the 382nd Regiment is not what it used to be.
Right. Speaking of which, since the professor is kind of busy, I'll go check in with the colonel whether or not to, I don't know if he's on my side of the cart or whatever, but...
We'll say sure.
But just kind of politely excuse myself from Ernst, and then just go ahead and sit next to him and just, excuse me, sir, are you doing all right?
It is,
You seem quite perplexed over at...
It's certainly, where are the men going to ride? It's a very small wagon.
I'm going to go ahead and kind of just take a quick sidelong glance over at the lieutenant and see if, granted, I'm looking at the back of him.
Yeah, he's glancing back over his shoulder at you and just giving you a look like, be careful, kid gloves here.
Right, yeah, so I'm definitely not going to bring it up. It's like, oh, don't worry, sir, I'm sure we'll rendezvous with them shortly.
Yes, very good, sir.
I hear you're quite the fine leader of your men, of course.
Sure.
And it makes sense why you would be concerned about their well-being.
Well, it's awfully flattering, I'm sure. We have served together many years. Good lads.
I am afraid to admit I'm not too familiar with the great 382nd Regiment. What is it that exactly, why are you stationed on Venustat or on the planet Venus?
Yes, we are the proud tip of the sword, as it were. The fighting elite of Her Majesty's service here on Venus.
I see. You were helping out with the good professor and making sure that her mission is all taken care of.
Yes, she had requested military escort into the marshlands to... I don't know.
That's right, it's sudden stuff.
Yes, sir.
I see. And I'm sure that your men were well prepared and balanced in their efforts. And
Yes, sir. Always on.
I'm sure, like you said, they're quite the spearhead of the, Majesty's army.
Tip of the sword, I said.
Oh, yes. Quite right, sir. And just to make sure, though, you are feeling quite all right. You do have quite, it looks like the...
Buttermop.
Just about. All right. I just want to make sure that you are doing all right. And if you need any assistance, just let me know.
Really, forgot to look where I was going. It bumped my head into the branch.
Yes, certainly. It happens to us all. It's quite an inconvenience, of course.
Keeps me human, I suppose, in the eyes of the men.
Yes, certainly. I'll still check with the colonel a little bit, but just mainly wanted to make sure he was doing okay because he was...
I mean, he's not.
Right, well, you know what I mean. Make sure he's not going to, be a hazard to everyone type of thing. He kind of now thinks he's in a war zone type of thing.
He's got his huge elephant.
Right, yeah, so just want to make sure that he's doing all right. But yeah, I guess then I'll just kind of small chat. I had plenty of practice so far with small chatting. I'll go talk to Ernst a little bit and just kind of small chat with everyone in the cart, just kind of keep things moving.
No, it's really boring the next few hours, but Ernst is just sitting there, just like this huge grin on his face. Oh, this is so exciting.
Oh, really, Ernst? Is there not all that much action that happens on Venus?
I have mainly been sequestered to administrative duties.
Oh, a desk job, of course.
Well,
Sounds like-
there is no shame, as there are important matters that must be seen to. Yeah.
Certainly, but when I go relay or repeat some of the things, since I asked him previously about his military record, repeat some of those things. There's certainly when you have experienced these things, it's a little hard to end up sitting behind the desk after a while.
But yeah. But my dear Margaret, she was insistent that I not place myself in so much danger any longer. So
No, I quite understand your reasoning behind that. I mean, once you love someone, you want to make sure that they are kept safe.
yeah.
Realize that I made a technical error there. I'll go ahead and switch subjects. And just ask what type of sites should we be on the lookout for in Venustat? I haven't really been there all that much.
The sites in the city.
Yes, certainly.
There's a whole map.
Oh boy!
So
Do tell me, Eric.
Oh
let's
my.
take a look together. In the great city of Venustat,
Yes.
you can find such great things as
Pina coladas.
there is Bismarck Platz. At the heart of the city stands a small statue of the Chancellor, showing him in a worthy statesman-like posture. Surrounding the place are the buildings of the colonial administration, the largest of which is the government house, with its famous ice palace, which is where Ernst would work. On the opposite side stands the modest city hall and the Luther Church. On the western side of the square stands Venustat Law Courts, where the highest legal authority within the colony resides, while opposite the law courts stands the headquarters of the Gendarmerie, the colony's paramilitary police service.
Now,
Which is presumably where you would find the most willing soldiers to aid you. in-
they're top men.
Yes.
Um,
Top men.
right. Yeah. Out of curiosity, there's obviously some, for lack of a better term, specious thing going on.
Yep.
Slaves.
Slaves.
Right, yeah. I don't know if I know about the whole thing with, some people look down on Martians or whatever, but am I able to get a feel for kind of what's the feeling there? Like, okay, is Sahin and Felika going to be kind of looked down upon or whatever? I mean, obviously there's not much that I can do for poor Hideki because... but...
Oh, actually, no. There is a British enclave in Venustat that has actual British troops. So yeah, if you don't find any aid that Ernst would be able to secure you could look for British troops in the British enclave.
Okay, cool. Are you doing this in character or out of character?
Maybe a little bit in character.
Yeah.
Probably not quite that obvious, though.
The lieutenant looks over to you and just sort of leans away and brings a hand up to his mouth. Charming.
Now, out of curiosity, is it like if you were to talk in the cart, can everyone hear you type of thing?
Yes.
So there's no point in getting up front and trying to have it. Although, I don't know who else talks Venus stuff.
Venusian?
Venusian, yeah. I'll go ahead though, and since I am a captain in the army, and all are captain something or another, I'll go relieve the lieutenant of his watchful present. Dear lieutenant, if you want, you can go take a break, and I can go sit up front for a little while.
Thank you, sir. Will you be requiring a firearm?
Well, I will admit that I'm not too adept in firearms, but yes, I
point
can-
for
yes, certainly.
the view of the road ahead.
I'll go ahead and take his firearm, even though I'm not trained in it, but I'll give it a go if need
Hand it
be.
over.
If only you knew someone with ranks in firearms.
Oh, that's all right. I don't
If
know that you
only.
have that, so I'll take the firearm and kind of keep vigilant on the front. And
You got it? Good.
yes, English is hard sometimes.
When I see you with the gun, I'm going to actually look at you and say, do you know how to use that?
And then
In
He's
Venusian,
a
of course.
captain. Okay.
All of my speaking is going to be in Venusian unless otherwise specified.
Okay.
I don't know that I know Venusian.
You probably don't, so I'd probably end up speaking to you in English. Which I assume I know
You
because
said
I
that
understand
the
this.
lieutenant had a pistol?
Yeah.
Could I, excuse me, Lieutenant, could I perhaps also borrow the pistol as well? As you can see, I'm only armed with my, ceremonial saber.
Sir, if we are attacked, I will need some form of firearm to protect the women.
Well, certainly, I understand.
Is this in Venusian?
No, this is in English.
He's a British soldier. It's like yeah, protects the women and children kind of a
Right.
deal.
I pull out all my weaponry and I'm like, I got this.
I'm sure you'll
And put it back
away. I meant no offense.
I'm going to go turn to Falik and just ask, do all Martian princesses are so heavily armed, I take it now?
She just kind of motions down. It's like no weapons.
Oh, okay. Must be a new princess thing that I'll go ahead go ahead and make my
I
way...
glare at you.
make my way up to the front of the cart and just, and then...
Yep.
The thing. Yeah.
Ventraxian?
Klingon, I say. Right. But I conversed with Hideyoshi and his native tongue, whatever that was called again.
Venusian.
Yeah. There you go. Mentioned that, no, I'm not too trained in firearms, but if the need arises, I'll make sure to pass off it to you.
Thank you.
But for appearance's sake, it's probably best that I hold on to it.
In that case, we'll need to get you a sword as well.
I just looked down at my sword already.
No, a real sword.
I mean, it's not an unfunctional sword. It's,
Sure, but he probably needs a backup in case he needs a backup.
Sure. Okay.
I'm not quite sure that I follow Hideyoshi.
I need a sword, but I can't carry it, so you have to carry it for me.
Well, then I would be unarmed.
I can't carry it.
That's why I'm telling you to buy another.
Well, certainly. I look around, kind of just, mock, like looking around. Oh, once I find a vendor, I'll let you know.
I expect there will be some in Venusstadt.
I'm sure there will be. And
Makes
then, but anyway, tell me, what have you found out since you've been here?
Mr. Warren's a bastard, and no one likes me.
Well, I can't imagine why. You're quite a likable fellow.
It's the scales.
Yes, it's rather weird being in another person's body, I will admit.
That is a true fact.
But have you figured out
I thought we
anything about...
we're supposed to talk about this.
We're in Venusian.
Oh, never mind. I can't.
As far as I know, we're the only people that understand each other.
As far as you know.
Right, yeah, true.
Yeah.
Little do we know.
It's first time, all right?
Right, yeah, true. Who are newbies? I'll just politely ask if he's figured out a way to get. If you figured out a way to get back, yeah.
No, but whatever this anomaly is that the professor keeps speaking of sounds interesting and potentially promising.
Since I know exactly what the professor's been talking about, I'm going to start laying down science, talk about everything that I know about. Oh yes, so this.
You know exactly what she's been talking about?
Well, to the best of my ability that I know, since
I mean, I have also been listening to the whole thing, but I have no science, so...
I have science physics 10, so I start
Just
giving
look at
you, filling in some extra blinks there, but...
As you begin to explain, I say, no, I don't understand that.
Oh, I'm
it
sorry.
just sounds like it could be
Once again,
suspicious.
this body thing.
Indeed.
But I'll keep...
You're basically pulling the Star Trek technobabble. It's like, okay,
Right.
yeah, that sounds legit.
Right, yeah.
Make it
so-
so.
Down to the power couplings and... Yeah.
Right. Crank it up to the maximum and da-da-da-da-da. And give me all she's got!
Oh, boy.
But hopefully, though, this
Make
will...
it so. Number
Auxiliary?
one.
Yeah. Hopefully this will provide us a way to get back, though.
Yes, but just as important to our overall mission, we need to also bring back a piece of this world and figure out what caused the quiet in the first place and how we can stop it from happening.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm fully aware of that, although I will admit that I'm...
Cool stuff.
I will admit that I do miss, since I was kind of just pushing in here willy-nilly, that I do miss new son Izzy, Mizzy, and Lizzie. And I don't want to, never see them again.
Yeah, Kalis is kind of on the edge here. Who knows if he'll still be even alive when I get back.
I
Yeah.
do hope that he's going to be...
I might say Kalis is on a sword's edge.
Ooh. He hangs on the tip of the batleth.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I guess we'll make some polite small talk while I keep, vigilant and
Okay.
look
Both
around.
of you make a perception check.
All right.
Okay. Okay. 3.
Okay.
This is
Now
good
we're not
rolls,
quote unquote
too.
aiding each other. We're doing separate checks, right?
Separate check.
Sorry. I thought that was
And I'm not involved in this at all. But
Yep. Not this time.
ooh, I'm clean.
3.
Whatever this
Okay.
is.
Both of you just kind of experience a moment of where you're looking to each other and conversing, and then abruptly, just out of the corner of your eye, you just catch someone staring at you, and you look back, and the Professor Erdale, is just looking up from her work. It just has this scowl on her face as she's looking back and forth between you.
Can I help you, Professor?
She responds in Venusian, "No, thank you."
Oh, and then I'll respond back. It's like, certainly, we shall talk about these matters later. And then,
Very good.
Just kind of sit there, just like crap, 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 crap.
that's all right. Looking back, she most likely would know. So, no worries.
You know what? She's actually the most likely person to help us get. I don't say this out loud.
You
But
done
Out of
messed
character, she's the most
up.
likely to help us get back.
And hey, if we build a link, we're doing part of the mission.
Okay.
Noobs! Woo!
It is literally the first mission in a decade.
And hey, don't
And you
get mad
done
at me.
messed up. No.
Hey, don't get mad at me. I'm impulsive. I'm
Come at me,
flawed,
you
all right?
princess.
David, you've done messed up.
Hell!
You don't mess up, bro. Okay. There's a bit of a tense period when you head back down through marshy lands and are looking around as the marshes are slowly growing closer and closer to the roadside. But as they break off again and you make your way back up to higher flatlands, you emerge unscathed.
Thank goodness. That is a relief.
It gets to be about the time where the horizon is all sorts of weird greens and weird colors, this being Venus and all,
Right.
as the sun is setting. And you can see off in the distance there are lights of buildings and walls on the horizon, and large, looming, kind of ovoid forms floating above.
I'm going to pick up the speed just a little bit.
I'm going to, though, turn to my dear pal, Ernst, and say,
Yeah.
Ernst, if we were to gather aid, of course, for this expedition of ours, where would you suggest we start first?
Well, I suppose, if you are wanting to acquire more troops under the command of the Colonel,
Yes.
you would want to be speaking to the British consul in the city.
Of course. We shall make our way there then first. And I do hope this whole expedition of ours is not an inconvenience for you.
Oh, no, as I said, this is exciting, and I will be able to direct you wherever you need. And as I said, also, I am familiar with a number of officials in appropriate positions if you have any needs other than securing more soldiers for the Colonel. Are you intending to place yourself under temporary command of the 382nd?
Yeah, I didn't think of that. Well, he's saying this all in right out in front of the cart. What's the Colonel looking like right now?
He said under the
Oh,
command.
there we go.
He's like,
Oh,
he's not saying
all right,
anything.
yeah. I was also just like, yes, of course. The Colonel is my superior, after all.
Yeah, but any good senior officer recognizes the merit of experienced soldiers under them, I think. Yeah.
Oh, certainly. I just had a
Rosetta! Rosetta! Taps him on the shoulder.
But yes, and I'll motion to the Colonel to say, of course, sir, if you will happen on
No,
this expedition,
welcome to join us on our endeavors here. Given the state of the sky, I think it is best that we wait to continue our expedition until the morning.
just to clarify, we haven't even been here one whole day, have we?
Nope.
No.
All right. Wow. Okay.
We've done a lot in
Well,
a span of less than 24 hours.
Yep.
Got whipped, took off my loincloth, and I got whipped.
Turkish delight. Turkish delight. Champagne. Small talk.
Chomped on. Crashed in an escape pod.
Yeah.
Chomped on by dinosaur.
Mhm.
Yes.
Speaking of which, I'll turn back since was Felika damaged or hurt
Yes.
in the assault?
But
Just-
she's been.
She's been,
Yeah,
patched up.
but just to turn back and say, my dear Martian princesses, by the way, since you've both had a rough scrape earlier today, you both are feeling rather well. Just to check in.
Of course, a good night's sleep I think I will need, but...
By the way, I'm sure my body would know this, but in the British whatever embassy thing that we have, is there like places where people that are part of a party or something of a British expedition group or something like that can find rooms, or would they need to be acquired elsewhere?
I mean, presumably there are places where you can be put up for the night. And, you know, if it comes to it, basically the junior officers even, and presumably, you know, whatever enlisted men, and, the grunts of the
Right.
whatever British forces here can be left to just hot bunk if other people come in and are in need of sleeping arrangements.
Okay.
Which hot bunking is basically where, you know, you have basically have trade off 3 8-hour shifts or whatever it would be on Venus, I don't know. Where, you know,
Right, yeah.
it's like I sleep for these 8 hours on this bunk, you sleep for the next 8 hours on that bunk, and then basically so you can triple up and save room if needed.
Gotcha. Well, I'll mention then to Felika and Sahin that I'll make sure you find accommodations for the evening then.
Very good.
Ernest actually speaks up. Oh, I do actually know rather well the mayor of Venustat. I think maybe he would be willing to for foreign princesses be willing to supply accommodations that are more to your standards.
I'll just nod along, sure. Looking at Felika, like, just gauging.
She's actually looking slightly uncomfortable at that. Well, I don't need anything too fancy if everyone else is merely going to be sharing simple quarters.
Be like, yeah, we can share some quarters and be fine.
The colonel actually piped up, "Nonsense! Your royalty should be treated as such! What?"
I start to look very uncomfortable at that.
Yes, I'm my royalty.
I belong here!
I am princess, if still new princess.
They should be honored to have your presence here in their home.
Just let him carry on. Just look at Felika like.
Oh. But I'll just turn to Felika since she seems to be more taking charge of Sahin's and herself's accommodations. It's like, well, certainly I don't want to, put you in a place that would make you feel uncomfortable. So wherever you would like to spend the evening, I'll make sure that your rooms are arranged.
She looks over to the colonel, who's giving her a look like, hmm? You know the right answer here. Perhaps we can make a compromise where if there is a guest house for visiting officers or dignitaries, we can all share the space. It will be nicer perhaps than whatever barracks for the British troops, but not so notorious.
No, I fully understand. We shall look into that then when we arrive.
All right.
And then I'll go ahead and keep watch still, since I guess we haven't reached the city
Oh,
yet.
you're coming up on the
Oh, okay.
exterior of the city, and there's some these huge floodlights are swiveling over to mark your approach as the sun has basically set
Right.
at this point.
Oh, I am going to mention though to Ernst, since you most likely know the quickest route to Actually, should we hit the... What time? It's sunset, so it's about
Yes.
5-ish?
Or whenever the sun sets on Venus.
At this time of the year, I don't know. We'll see.
Because I'm wondering, like, would it be better to go up to the mayor's house first, or the British embassy barracks thing?
Depends on how how are you guys prioritizing the
Well,
events here?
Felika mentioned a guest house to share for
Right.
everyone that would
So-
be a compromise.
Most likely, then that would be more the mayor's thing. So I'll go. Alright, so what's the quickest way to the mayor's?
Well, first off, as
Yes.
you're coming up in the exterior of the city and the floodlights are
Right,
swinging
right.
over to you, you're getting through the megaphone.
Your future intentions to approaching the city of Venustat.
Do we just shout it into the ether? Or?
I mean, if you want, but the colonel just sways a bit as he stands up in the back of the wagon as it is brought to a stop.
Yeah, I'll slow down.
Yeah, if nothing else, the lieutenant would tap you on the shoulder,
Yeah,
rein it in, and the colonel stands up.
Hi, sir! Colonel Byron Bryerton of the 382nd Regiment!
And there's a long pause as you swear you can hear the guards on duty up there just kind of assessing what regiment.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, you are just barely making it in time before we are closing the city gates. If you have any business outside of Venustat, finish it quickly and inside the city.
I look around to the rest of the cart. Anybody?
I would like to very much get inside.
Certainly, sir.
Agreed.
Let's go.
As you head in, there's actually one of the Zeppelins has come in, and just kind of in its patrol noted that somebody is entering the city and is coming and floating over all of you, and Felika is actually looking up to it. And, I have never seen one of the Earthling flyers before. It is cumbersome.
Ooh, shit.
Well, if you look at the designs
Yeah.
for the Martian flyers, they're pretty sleek. And anyway,
And would I, considering I am Martian in this world, would I know the difference between the Earthen and the Martian flyers?
Earth
Yes.
and the Martian.
the Earthling and or Terran flyers, however you want to.
Why are you
Look at it,
laughing at
is-
me?
Never mind. Earth
Yeah,
and wood
basically-
probably made out of dirt.
So this is a Zeppelin, big bulbous hunk of junk,
Right.
and these are like the sleek Martian flyers down here, which basically look like,
Ships.
Job of
But
sail
it-
barge.
But sky.
but yeah, little sleeker, and they're called war kites
Ooh.
and screw galleys, apparently.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's got a big propeller, and that's the screw part.
Which apparently the British have a small steam launcher, which is a little sleeker. and kinda cool looking.
Oh,
Called the Spitfire?
it's the Hurricane.
Oh, okay.
Oh boy.
But again, if any of you guys have, I know Rachel has seen it, but like the John Carter movie where they have the huge ships sailing through the air and like the sails are shifting and glistening as they catch the waves of light. There's so many good designs in that movie. Anyway, underrated movie.
Never seen it.
Anyway, at some point we'll have to watch it, like one of our game nights or
Ooh,
something.
Treasure Planet.
Kind of like that, yes. But,
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, we make our way into the city.
Yes, as you enter into the city, it is not an incredibly busy time of day, but still, yeah. So if you have a pretty good idea of how big a Zeppelin is, that's a Zeppelin, that's the city.
Ooh.
So,
What's the city?
Well, it's
Oh.
German.
yes,
Yeah.
very neatly laid out, and they didn't really have any need to constrict the space at all. It's not a huge plateau, flatland kind of area.
They do very strict city planning.
Yes.
I mean, it's not such a great idea for defensiveness, but whatever, carry on. Because you
I
can
mean-
shoot guns straight down one entire corridor.
Oh, you mean, okay, oh yeah, people penetrate the exterior walls.
Yeah.
Yeah, I suppose so, but, oh yeah. 'cause
My
the-
character doesn't know that.
Yeah, that's true. Well, it depends on what your warfare check would have been. Anyway, but yeah, that's kind of what the whole tactic was originally, and that whole like it's like the last third of the Middle Ages when they started rounding off castles,
Yep.
so that you didn't just have the clear shot all the time.
Yep.
And especially that was when spiral staircases were really coming in, because then it's like, you can't just look down the staircase or up the staircase and just have a clear shot. Always research murder holes in Age of Empires 2.
Oh, yes.
Anyway.
That is super handy.
Yeah, otherwise they just come right up to your wall and just continue to attack and attack and
And you have
attack.
to have a whole bunch of towers right next to each other, which is expensive.
Yeah. Pro tip. Completely useless in life.
The
but
more
pro
you
tip.
know.
Yeah.
But then you get the weird animation when your bombard towers have murder holes and this goes kaboom! And this rock just falls on top of their head straight down.
Yeah. It's kind of gratifying, though.
I know, but okay. Sorry, Age of Empires is a great game, but we're not playing that right now.
So, you enter Venus Stats, and it's just, this huge corridor opens up before you. Yeah, basically you can see down this broad street all the way off to the far end where it just looks like there's this huge hangar area for their zeppelins, etc. And actually, yes, during the last bit of approach, there would have been kind of an uphill switchback that takes you onto the higher plateau land. And yes, as you enter the city, Ernst is looking between all of yours. So what is it we are prioritizing first?
Well, it sounds like we should acquire some lodging first, since it's getting rather late, and I don't know when exactly the British, what is it called, embassy or something, is open till.
Okay.
Since I would imagine that the governor or whatever's manor is probably not exactly right at the front of the city, so it's
it is
probably going to take a
almost-
while to get there.
It is just right of center of the city in Bismarckplatz.
Ooh, Bismarckplatz.
Yes. Which is presumably a big plaza where you have all the government house, the Ice Palace, City Hall, the Luther Church, and the headquarters of the Gendarmerie.
All the big stuff.
Yes. So that is where Ernst would be guiding you all. And as you reach there, it's kind of a similar feeling one would get when if you're a country bumpkin and suddenly you enter Times Square for the first time.
It's a big city.
Yes, a little bit overwhelming. There's a lot of milling back and forth and people shouting this way and that about whatever wares they're attempting to sell, And this isn't a place that gets a whole lot of tourism, so when people see that, there are visitors, it's like, come buy our local Venus Stats goods and wares. Kajita's wares.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you have coin, because she has wares.
And yes, people are
Skooma.
going back and forth between in the Bismarckplatz, and Ernst guides you all to the government house. So actually, I should say he doesn't know the mayor; he knows the governor.
Gotcha.
Apparently, there's a governor, not a mayor. My apologies.
What's that?
It's an upgrade.
Or as the Germans would say, Reichskommissar.
Oh.
Yeah,
Reichskommissar.
Reichskommissar.
Yeah.
Before we arrive, though, I make sure that my uniform's all spiffed and clean, since we're going to be talking to, apparently, maybe...
It's a bit dusty from traveling
Right, yeah,
on the road for a few
obviously, but-
hours.
I don't even bother.
Well, you
Brush
have
off your
one problem.
scales.
Yeah, no, I don't even bother with that.
So, make myself at least look somewhat presentable.
Okay. So, as you make your way inside the government house, Ernst speaks with the reception committee for all of you and introduces, and these are real princesses from us. Ulrika gives a graceful bow at this.
I start to just do, and then I look at I quickly do
And
a small bow.
yes, in short order, you are brought before the governor, whom I have not discovered a name for, so I will call him Governor von Himmelberger.
Governor
Von
Tarkin.
Himmelberger. Yes!
Nice.
Again, that was von Himmelberger?
Yes. Which Reichskommissar von Himmelberger.
Alright.
That's a mouthful.
Yes. But Ernst greets him as he would a friend, and Vice Commissar, it is good to see you once again. And Van Himmelberger is a rather rotund man, appears to have taken more to the administrative lifestyle than Ernst has. Trying to pull up my Schultz because that's what I'm based this on.
I know nothing. Nothing.
Yeah. Colonel Klink, welcome to you. Erlacht, I see you have brought with you some new friends.
Delicious.
Colonel Hogan, please.
So I could help myself.
And like once again, everyone is introduced, and the colonel appears to take it upon himself to grandly introduce anybody who is of British descent. Claps you on the shoulder.
And this is Captain Memphis Quincy McDonald.
Roll my eyes in the
At
back.
your service, sir. And I'll do a short bow.
And it appears as though the boys of the 382nd have decided to remain on site, sir.
And Ernst just gives a quick look to the governor and just gives a minute shake of his head, just like, don't go there.
Right.
And the governor just gives a slow, confused
I mean, I
nod.
guess you can see the head wound, so it's like,
Yes.
yeah, right.
Well, as then I think we can set you up with appropriate rooms.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
A small bow.
And
I hope we're not imposing on
Curtsy,
you.
whatever.
Oh no, is fine.
And Ernst does look to all of you. I would, of course, have offered rooms in my home. And the governor claps him on the shoulder.
But he has insisted upon taking living quarters in the government house.
I see.
The finite number of buildings in Wienerstadt, and he has graciously offered to do his part to ensure that we are able to continue expansion in our great city.
My love of Ernst shot up by like 1,000-fold. We're just like, oh, buddy! You're the best!
But as the governor is saying that and commending him, there's this little look in his eye of, yeah, totally selfless.
For Ernst, or?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So there was reasons.
Perhaps.
But now's not the time to ask about those if I wanted to. So go ahead and let the spiel and the small talk commence.
But the colonel does give a grand old salute to the governor.
Thank you, sir. But I think we of the Her Majesty's fighting forces, we shall find adequate accommodations in the British Embassy.
Is that implying like all of us of the British?
He seems to be implying all of you of the British fighting forces.
Well, since he is my commanding officer, I shall dutifully follow his lead. Though, how does Ernst look with that? So, is he okay?
Yeah, he's not objecting. He
Oh,
seems to
cool.
be like,
So,
okay, that makes sense.
Alright, so I'll go ahead and I guess follow the colonel then on our way out and bid goodbye to Ernst, and I will see you in the morning, I suppose. Then.
Okay. Back outside in the cart where Hideyoshi has been left, like, okay, just sit here.
Chilling here, waiting for someone to tell me where to go.
The professor has remained outside with you.
Oh,
and
boy.
is continuing to look over her equipment, and just as you two have been waiting outside, you'd probably find decent accommodations for someone like you, I think, as well.
What language is she speaking?
English.
Thank you.
You just hear her stop in her work, and she just looks up over to you, just look up. Really? We're gonna do this?
I actually don't know how good my English would be. I'm assuming that Venusian is my native language. So I guess I'll just go for it in Venusian and say, I would appreciate it if you would keep as much of that prior conversation to yourself as possible.
And she responds in Venusian. I would feel a great deal better about that prospect if I were to have some sort of assurance that you and your strange friend
were not involved somehow in the readings and the catastrophic failure of the Star Unity.
As far as we know, we have no personal involvement.
But do you know more than you've said?
I suspect most people do.
That does not seem to be an adequate answer for her. She continues to stare you down. I do hope you understand the delicacy of your situation. Given your status, I could, of course, make any sort of accusations against you and you would be summarily shot.
Is there anybody else in the courtyard?
Not immediately around you, but there's still people milling around the square.
Is there perhaps something I can do for you, then?
You can tell me everything you might know of the readings I have been studying.
Alas, I am not the scientist.
Your friend, then.
He is a scientist, and I shall endeavor to convince him to inform you as much as we know. If I ever get a chance to speak with him without being shot.
Well, if you are not a saboteur or
I assure you we are not.
practitioner of the dark arts,
Nope.
then what exactly are you?
For lack of a better word, I am a soldier.
I don't
Fear not, no invasion is imminent.
Very poor choice of words.
It's not to say I don't incredibly care about the origin of your army, only that it does not spell disaster for the solar system at large.
There is absolutely no intention or desire to cause harm to anyone on this planet or any other planet in the solar system.
How's your diplomacy, sir?
My diplomacy is a 4.
Better than mine.
Roll your diplomacy.
It's funny that you're getting already hit up about this because I was actually going to, once you get settled in, go
3.
talk to the professor.
Really?
Yes, I got 3.
She gives a slow nod. Very well, it can be persuaded to hold off on any further investigations or drawing any scrutiny of others upon you and your companion, provided I am furnished with the answers I seek.
I shall do my best.
Thank you. You are an excellent driver and a gentleman.
Thank you. Milady.
She actually does give a bit of a laugh and gets back to looking over her equipment and
Huh?
Nothing wrong here! Nothing at all!
at this point we'll say that the British officers, all of you, have returned and back outside. Ernst is emerging to see you all off. Oh, and if I hear of any further developments at the Duke of Collingswood estate, I will inform all of you as quickly as I'm able, and we will return if that is what is seen fit to do.
Thank you, Ernst. We shall see you in the morning then, I suppose.
How does Felica look at all of this?
Oh, as she's entered the not, overly opulent interior of the government house, she's still looking around, and that's the very human architecture. Well, I must admit, Sahim, today I am also feeling like a new princess. So many new experiences. Thankfully, dying was not one of them.
I will do my best to keep that from being your experience.
She gives you a bit of an odd look. Well, a princess's bodyguard is not meant to be another princess, but I'll make an exception.
I have my surprises.
I believe that.
Understatement of the game.
And a nice German shoot, what is it called?
Butler.
And
Aide de camp? Aide de camp?
Yeah, sure. He'd be the guy who's sent to escort the important people to their rooms, and he comes in.
Jeeves.
Okay, and he comes and bows to both of you. If I could escort you to our chambers.
They would look to Felica and motion to lead on.
And yeah, you are drawn to a rather nice set of rooms. Doesn't have like private bath or shower or anything, but this is
Where is the bathroom showers situation?
It's like a communal deal off down the hall.
Communal with just the hall, or with the 2 rooms, or with what?
There's like a short hall of rooms. You don't know if any of the other ones are occupied at the moment. But
Okay.
presumably any of the other guests who would be staying in this small off wing of the government house would also be ladies, if that's what you're asking.
Actually, no, but that's good to know.
Okay.
I mean, they're Germans. They got this all figured out.
Everything is in order! Okay, you're taken to your room, and that's actually a good point. Would you want a separate room, or to better bodyguard, if that is actually your intent? Would you want the same room?
I just, she's coming on an adventure with us. I really don't want to accidentally get her killed.
Okay.
It would be kind of whatever was laid out would be what I would.
Okay, so let's say basically the equivalent of the modern standard, double queen kind of setup room.
Okay.
And you're escorted there, and you can tell belatedly Felica is looking around and realizing, when you begin to settle down for the night, you take your bags and are unpacking things and getting everything sorted out. She's just registering. Yeah, we don't have bags. We lost everything in the ship crashing.
Yeah. Is there anything we can do about that? Is the... What was the
Still say
word?
butler.
Butler?
Aide de camp, sure.
Is there anything else you ladies require?
I would look to Felica and be like, we don't have anything.
We have basic kits for necessities. I will have one of our staff provide you with that.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Gives a bow, exits the room, and Felica just slumps down onto the bed and just winces, and she's like, "Oh yeah, I was nearly chomped in half earlier."
I'd go and figure out how to get some water, bring her some water.
I think there would actually be like a pitcher
okay.
and
Yeah.
glasses. And bring her some, and she's just slowly drinking it.
I did not think this day would go like this.
Neither did I.
Cheers.
But for different reasons.
Yeah.
And at some point you'll have to tell me who you are.
Bum, bum, bum.
I mean, I did not lie about my name. I am Sahin.
Suppose we can start with that.
Cut to Memphis.
Yes.
You and the other officers are heading back out to the wagon. And she seems a little on edge for some reason. You're not entirely sure why. The professor is just calmly looking over her instruments.
Am I being taken inside? Do I have a room here?
The colonel says, yes. There should be a number of men. Yes, there are. And a few guys are trotting down the steps and are helping to haul the apparatus out of the back and are clunk up the steps carefully. And
While she's distracted and making noise, I whisper to you, "We need to talk."
Oh, certainly. I replied back in his native tongue, whatever that was again.
Venusian.
I will, though, go once the professor has seen kind of most of her stuff recently, kind of, just pull off his, if I could just bother her for a moment and just, excuse me, Professor, whenever you might want to have that conversation about earlier, I'm available whenever you...
Well, I'm about to retire for the evening.
No, certainly. I just want to let you know that whenever you want to, we can discuss those matters. Just let me know at your earliest
Are you
possible.
remaining? There's a commonary, I presume. We can speak there if you wish.
Well, I believe I'm heading back with the dear Colonel to the British Embassy.
Fine, then. We'll speak tomorrow.
Certainly. I'll go give her a
Such a
short bow.
lady.
I look forward to our...
She's still covered in mud, by the way. I'm
Right.
just walking through the marshlands.
But yes, I'll let you go retire for the evening, and we shall discuss these matters in the
Yes,
morning.
fine. Carefully! She's continuing to monitor her equipment being taken inside.
You bow and turn around and follow the rest of the British officers.
Okay.
And
Which inside, Sahin, you are hearing in the room beside you just clunk, 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 because something heavy is being situated, and you hear her, the professor, calling out, and then is rather noisily setting up her equipment once more.
Once she gets it set up, does the noise die down any?
A little bit.
Oh boy. Will she ever sleep, I wonder?
I don't know, but I think I'm tired enough that I will not care.
Yeah. I hadn't realized how much of a day it had been.
Yes, hopefully tomorrow will be slightly less exciting, I think.
Oh. Here's to that. And down the rest of my water.
Eventually you are brought the essentials, what have you, towel and soap and
Mm-hmm.
whatever. You actually brought a rather nice set of, high society German clothing for ladies.
I would still make a point to wash my clothes and set them up to dry.
Like in the water basin on the bedside table, just like put on the Victorian garb and just take off your Martian, just like...
And set it out to dry
Okay.
so I can wear it the next day.
Yeah, like the modern equivalent is like putting it in front of the swivel fan, oscillating fan.
Yeah.
But they don't have that because Victorian era. Anyway, but crack the window and like get a little bit of breeze coming through. Anyway, it smells like soap in here.
Do I get weird looks from Valika?
I mean, she understands what laundry is.
Well, I meant the fact that I'm insisting on making sure my clothes are clean so I don't have to wear them.
She's basically already figured out you're not a princess. So the fact that you do your own laundry isn't like, oh, this is a huge revelation.
No. I figured not. I figured she's long since caught on to the fact that I'm not a princess.
Yeah.
Even a new princess at that.
So, as you guys settle down for the night and she seems to have put to bed, the pressing matter of, you're gonna need to come clean about some things. It's like, we'll get there. And as the officers make their way off to the British Embassy, the little British enclave, apparently there's a Russian colony, there's an American presence, there's an Italian holding. A number of different societies represented here. As you arrive at the
Impressive.
British enclave. Oh, actually, as you arrive here,
Yes.
there are a number of lizardmen actually bustling about in various duties and activities. Not necessarily seeming to be, put upon, stripped down to loincloths, etc. They actually appear to be fairly well clothed and just appear to be part of the workforce. You don't necessarily see any in uniforms, but
Right.
they aren't. They appear to be not as poorly treated here, is what I'm saying. And as they know your arrival, you are welcomed in and supplied with well enough accommodations. You do actually notice the colonel waves you and the lieutenant off to the barracks. You note that there's somewhat loud conversation coming from the main officer's quarters as the colonel appears to be loudly informing him of something, and there's a mildly heated conversation ensues.
So right now it's just me and the lieutenant.
Yeah, that have been shooed off to the barracks by the colonel. It's like, I will handle matters, and you merely go find a place.
I see.
Park the cart in the
Right.
dinosaur stables.
Yeah, a couple of other lizardmen actually come up and help direct you to where there's a good spot, and help to unhook the pachyosaur from the yoke and
Make sure its scales are brushed.
well, hobble it and whatever, anything. So
Yeah,
make sure it's fed.
do the dinosaur taking care of things.
Yeah. And just kind of give you a nod, look you up and down, give you a bit of a sympathetic look, like, stuff out there, bro.
Yeah, give them the, you guys are lucky.
Mm.
And then I ask them where I can sleep.
Right, yeah, I was about to go inquire with the lieutenant, but
We will make room in our partition for you.
Thank you very
It will
much.
not be too difficult.
I'm most grateful.
Yeah, some extra mattresses and sets of bedding.
Mattresses.
Yes.
Delightful.
Yes, thankfully here the general does not see fit to treat us like animals.
I like this general.
Mind you, we are not official citizens of anything.
Unsurprising. Get a lot of that sense of these humans.
Yes. But progress in small steps, perhaps.
Yes. The peace conference with the Martians may lead them to accept other species as equal to their own, at least one other.
Perhaps. Humans are slow to change.
True story.
Yes, sir.
speaking of humans,
I don't know about that.
yeah, I want to go ahead and check in with the lieutenant. Lieutenant, when should we inform the dear colonel of the sad state of the 382nd Regiment?
When it's... Honestly, Captain, I'm not entirely sure there will come a time when it will not be detrimental to the man.
Certainly.
I've served under him for, goodness, 4 years now. And, well, I have not thought better of another commander of mine. And it weighs on me to see that he is not in full command of his faculties. He was a brilliant man, superb tactician. I cannot imagine what might have overwhelmed him so.
Certainly. It is rather odd that something would take out not only the regiment, but leave him in such a sorry state.
Whatever it was, intentionally or not, they dealt him a fate worse than death. If he ever does discover what became of the troops, the shame will be immense. He would have much preferred to have died with them.
Certainly, and it is understandable, of course. I guess we should not inform him yet, so it might break him.
Yes. Thank you, Captain.
Thank you. I do hope that he is faring better, though. Is he, or is he still seems to be at a decline? You know more than I do.
Don't know, it was only early this morning that the tragedy befell the 382nd. I was helping the professor pack up her equipment and seeing to her safety.
And out of curiosity, about how long was it that you left the colonel and the troops all by themselves? Like,
It's no more than 20 minutes.
so whatever this was quite lethal.
Yes.
And were you and the professor able to draw any conclusion on what it might be, any tracks of sorts, or was it multiple creatures, or do you think just one?
I don't know. There were tracks scattered about of some kind of creature. It did not appear reptilian in nature.
Interesting. I'm curious, Lieutenant, if I wanted to perhaps look more into this, do you happen to know here in this town where might I find some more information regarding creatures that are unusual?
Unusual to Venus, I don't understand.
Well, certainly this creature sounds like it's not a native, or
I don't know.
at least no creature of this size has been recorded.
Size, yes, but it did not appear to match what we know of the creatures we have documented.
I see. It is troubling, though.
Yes.
But we shouldn't dwell on these matters right before retiring for the evening. It will Certainly.
I'm afraid it is our duty as soldiers to do so, Captain, if I may be so bold.
Oh, no, certainly. It is all right. You speak the truth on the matter.
We deal with what is a danger to our fellow man, and do so boldly.
Certainly. That is the role of a soldier. Well, I won't keep you any longer, though.
Well, if I can be of any further assistance, Captain, do let me know.
I shall. Thank you for your time. And I'll go ahead and salute, because I'm the commanding officer in this case, and...
Which actually, I believe, means he is meant to salute you
Oh,
first.
alright, true.
You go subordinate superior.
I forget how this all works. So, either way, we do the saluting,
Yeah.
and, now, do I know where I'm retiring for the evening, first off?
I mean, you have
I'm guessing I
you have
have...
entered the barracks, and there are a number of men who have deferred to
Ah.
all of you as you've entered, and
Or it's that weird thing where it's like, I don't know if I took over the body of someone that's already supposed to be here, or if I'm just a new person that has
as
new...
far as you know, that's not how it works.
Alright, cool. So there's
Like,
actually records of like, hey, there is a, Memphis Quincy McDonald in the, some sort of, who knows, yeah. Actually, that's an interesting thing. I'm going to go ahead and first off, go claim a bunk somewhere.
Yeah,
And then-
you're directed to a couple of empty rooms down at the end there.
Cool.
The would be another lieutenant, I guess, would surrender his quarters to the colonel and the other Lieutenant Ogden.
And I got a bunk somewhere. Alright, just clarifying. So I'll go ahead and claim a bunk,
Yeah.
kind of put my sword on.
The most senior officer gets the nicest room, and
Right.
Yeah.
His aide gets it as well, and
Yes.
such. So I'll go ahead and put my sword on, the bunk, just to kind of like, hey, mine.
Yeah.
And also, it's imagining pretty heavy, so I'll go ahead and then make my way over to, logically, last I knew, where Hideyoshi was at, which is the dinosaur pen thing.
Yeah.
So make my way over there. I'm guessing I probably don't see him, so I'll inquire with one of the lizard folk.
Your friend was the driver.
Through. Are they talking English or?
Yeah.
All right. Yes. I was wondering if I could perhaps speak with them
just
from.
motions for you to follow, and takes you to where Hideyoshi has been set up for the night, which is just like a simple, very small room with a basic cot.
Get my own room.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So I'll politely knock on the door first before entering, and just Hideyoshi, are you in?
Yeah, I am indeed.
I'll go ahead and enter the premises, and you wanted to see me.
Yes, we need to talk in private.
I look around the vicinity. Is this like?
Is there a door to this room?
Yes.
Shut the door.
It's not not a heavy door, so you probably want to keep your voice down. It's very, very simple, kind of.
Or would you
Perhaps
like
we
to
can
go on
find
the
a
wall?
quiet corner in the stables where there's nobody around.
Sure.
Okay. So we go and we locate another quiet spot where we can keep an eye and make sure no one's approaching us.
Just a few pachyosaurs look up, like
What's up, Doc?
snacking on their hay.
Hi, guys.
So, the professor understands Venusian and heard everything we said to each other, and she wants to know everything.
Certainly, it is understandable. She's a scientific mind.
She also threatened to have me shot if we didn't tell her.
Well, I mean, trials of being a lizard folk, I suppose.
Yes.
Sorry. I meant no disrespect. It's weird being in this world, I'll admit.
Indeed, this is beyond the parameters of what I was led to expect.
I thought we'd have a little bit more practice before being shoved into something, but alas, here we are.
Yes, or someone who knows what they're doing along with us.
Well,
That would have been nice.
I thought you knew what you were doing.
Well, I remember lots of lessons, but having never done this before, we've already made some mistakes.
But hey, we can learn from them and get better at it. And
We will learn, we will get better, and at the moment, I think it will cause less damage to tell the professor as much as we can without really telling her that there's another world. If she finds out about it, that's okay.
although
We can,
I'm not quite understanding about, I mean, wouldn't that be part of it, telling her about another world? Obviously, where did we come from then?
maybe we do tell her that. Maybe we have to tell her that, but we don't tell her the exact nature of the lodge.
Definitely.
We need to protect the lodge above and beyond anything else. And if that means leading her to believe that it's just another world like hers, that's probably for the best.
And certainly she's most adequate to help us get back, of course.
Yes. What do we tell her when she asks why we're here?
Well, to be all honest, I got shoved through a portal, so why did you and Saheen take us here?
Well, to be honest, because it was open.
So...
Do we?
If Saheen was there, she would say,
So perhaps we simply tell about 90% of the truth that we're exploring.
I find that the truth is a lot more easier to tell than lying.
Yes.
And it's also a lot more easier to win friends.
We saw the portal open and we said, let's go.
After all, I am a scientist. New experiences are interesting. To test a hypothesis.
Alrighty then.
Sorry, it's the body talking.
That's a sentence
I didn't
I've
mean
not heard
that
before.
that way. Of course you... I'm sorry. I'm sure.
Body language.
Although I will admit, this whole time, I've been screaming inside. I have no idea what I'm doing.
Do you have any idea what it is that she's talking about?
Oh, yes, certainly. And I start rambling off scientifically.
Can you... Look, I know that you're good at this sort of thing.
I'm sorry.
Can you explain it to me in, like, young adult fiction terms?
Certainly. You have a
Oh,
young...
snap.
You have a young heroine that's...
She can't decide between
Right, yeah.
the vampire.
No, I meant, like, on that level of technical prowess, not...
Yeah. My understanding is that she detected us entering this place, but she also detected previous instances of... We read about earthquakes.
Right,
Right.
of course.
You have the earthquake, but you feel seismic tremors and, basically alerting you that something's going to happen.
Yes, I know this.
We were the earthquake. Not destructively, but, we were the earthquake. But she sensed that something was going to happen, whether or not that meant other portals opened up into this world from other worlds, or whether or not she was getting ghost readings of us eventually happening. Is this what you want in young adult terms?
Yes, this
Is
actually makes
working?
sense. I am understanding what you were saying.
That's good. Once again, I'm just... Oh, gosh, what have I done?
Well, so we definitely, I think we definitely need her help, because although you are good at this science thing, we don't possess sufficient knowledge to really understand what's going on here.
Certainly.
So we still need to find whatever it is that Reggie Harkins came to our world for. There's something going on here that's important, and it might be these scientific tremors that she's seeing, or maybe not. Who knows? Sounds like the lizard people are under a large degree of oppression, or maybe there's this summit. They both seem to be pretty dramatic events in this universe's goings on.
True, and most portals were due to basically experiences like that in other worlds, if I remember correctly, right?
Pivotal moments of desperate need in history.
Certainly, and this is gearing up to be one of those moments, it sounds
Very well could be. So we need to keep that in mind, because that should be our second highest goal behind keeping the lodge secure. And
Right.
then we need to also pursue the other goals of finding a bit of this world to bring back, preferably one that won't be missed. I have no idea what that would be. A tree or a bit of crashed Zeppelin or something.
Actually, out of curiosity, since we read about and we never gone out in the field ourselves, Mr. GM, what type of things do people typically bring back with them?
Something that, to put it, in young adult fiction terms,
Right?
Yeah.
resonates with that reality's sort of aura. So, like, something that is,
Like a chunk of either propeller.
hey, that could work.
So it's
You have a few of those
basically...
lying around.
Yeah.
It's basically...
we
it's
could
kinda like
even find pieces of the ship
Mm-hmm.
to take back.
it's basically like a focus for this world. I
Yeah,
feel.
something that is quintessentially, this belongs there.
So if we ever, when we go back at the end of the RPG, I mean our lives, and look at our trophy case, I mean the world, we can see, oh, this was from the time where we were in this setting. And
I
this
can't this back out in the outback.
It's the trophy room in video games.
It was this big.
Right. Achievement unlocked. So, but anyway.
Finding out whether or not these disturbances are whether they are a cause or a symptom, and what exactly they are, we're going to need the professor's help for that. So, while we shouldn't necessarily disclose the nature of the lodge, saying that we are from a different world, we saw a portal open, so we jumped through it.
Now we want to get back.
We want to find out how to get back, and yeah. We want to figure out how to get back. We want to figure out what caused it so that we can better understand it, which I think should fly with a scientist for an explanation.
Certainly.
And it's true.
Yes.
Scientific curiosity.
Mm-hmm.
I will.
Well, he's scientific curiosity. I'm just like, yeah, let's get it.
Guns.
And me, it's like, oh, the thing. Let's do the. Oh, why? What are we doing now? Why the thing?
For science, squirrel, you can't intimidate me.
But okay, I'll make sure to talk to the professor on these matters.
Yes. I'll look at my loincloth, and I'll look at the... I'm rather under-equipped at the moment.
And it is getting a little cold now at nighttime.
I shall look into getting you some provisions, I guess.
Some better clothing would be nice, and a pointy object, at least, that I can hide under my jacket.
Out of curiosity, have any of the lizard folk that we've seen, have they had any weapons of any sort?
Nope. Basic clothing.
Okay.
Presumably, even though the lizardmen in the city here are treated better,
Right.
they still don't want an uprising on their hands.
Makes sense. Well, I'll see what I can acquire. Did you want some clothing tonight, then, is what you're implying, or...?
I think I will be alright tonight. There's no need for you to rush about and make a scene. Oh, GM, don't do that. There's no need for you to rush about and make a scene on the count of some peasant lizard. But if you could make that happen sometime tomorrow, that would be appreciated.
Certainly, I'll look into it.
It would be untoward if your servant were to become ill and thus unable to perform his duties.
And certainly, I must return you to Mr. Warren in perfect health. That was a joke.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it definitely was. I point at my back. It still has 3 points of non-lethal damage on it.
Yep. So, as theories are put forth and preparations are... What?
I'm sorry, one last thing.
It's fine, go ahead.
One more thing. After my talk with Hideyoshi, I'm guessing we're done, though, right?
Yeah, once we're done, I'm going back to bed. I'm sleeping.
I'm going to consult or find whatever record books I might have, and just for fun, and also scientific curiosity.
What record books?
Well, basically, see if there's any mention of a Memphis Quincy McDonald, or like, who am I?
Where are you finding record books?
I don't know. This is a embassy of some sort.
He's Googling himself.
Oh, yeah. Google search.
It's a Victorian version of Googling yourself.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm basically very interested to find out, like...
Did we take over
Yeah, what
somebody
happened?
else's life?
So, I would imagine that since this is whatever it's called, embassy-like thing,
Yeah.
that they probably are, there's a Fort Worth or something like that nearby, or whatever the fort was called.
Oh, Collingswood?
Collingwood.
It's actually separate from Venustat. That is its own thing.
Yes, but is that like a
Miles
British fort, or what is that exactly?
Fort Collingswood, I believe, yes, is a British-controlled fort, and if I am getting that wrong, someone will let me know, probably.
Oh, that's fine. So basically, I would imagine since this is the British Embassy,
Yes.
That they would have contact with the fort's records or something like that. Basically, I would like to find an aide just to go ask about where might I find information in regards to Fort Collingsworth.
Collingswood.
Collingswood,
Me
sorry.
too. I get it all the time. Yeah, for the sake of brevity, you're able to find documentation on the fort and whatever personnel might be stationed there at whatever time.
Right, yeah, since I have no idea who or what I am, just trying to see if I can either find myself stationed, if I was stationed at the fort or Venus, or Venustat. Nope, nowhere?
Nope, before today you did not exist.
Okay. Interesting. I'll close the book and thank whoever it is I was borrowing the book from or wherever I got it from, return it, go to my quarters, and
before falling asleep, do a quick little prayer that Newson, Izzy, Mizzy, and Lizzie are doing all right, and I miss them thoroughly, and fall asleep.
Presumably they're doing better than you. So yes, things have been put forth, and you're all making preparations for tomorrow, and you've all found a place to lay your head for the night and recover non-lethal damage.
One non-lethal damage.
We are going to pick that up there next time, as you guys are in the big city and getting ready to enact whatever plans you might have.
Woo!
Yeah.
Which are exactly none at the moment
No,
for
talk
me.
to the professor.
Yeah, you have no plans.
Right.
I have
You
no
have no
plans
plans.
because you guys have not included me in anything yet.
I haven't had really a chance to talk with you, and you don't have a secret language. Actually, I could have probably talked in Martian, although Felicia would know, as well as the professor most likely.
Felika would have known.
Yeah. So,
She already suspects a lot, though, because I am
Yeah.
not subtle.
Really?
Just saying.
Yeah, so I
At
guess
least subtle
yeah.
thief.
You guys are still trying to figure out what has caused the door to open in the first place, what's happening here on the planet. Does Reggie Harkins have any connection to this at all, or is that just a weird fluke of fate? And yeah, what is the weird magical energies going on here on Venus? All that and maybe less next time on Tim Bordelers. Thanks for checking out our show. If you want to learn more about us, follow us at Tim Portlers on Twitter, or you can email us directly at tim.portlers@gmail.com.